How's it going? Welcome to Pangeekery Podcast, a live weekly video podcast celebrating all things geek from an all diverse perspective. And we are going to talk about movies, film, video games, and all things covering the nooks and crannies of geekdom, of fandom.
That was really dramatic. That was a long
I was like, that's a lot of crannies if you're pausing that much, dude.
Hella crannies.
How many crannies are we talking about?
At
Whoa,
least
a buttload of crannies?
6.023 times 10 to the 23rd crannies.
Whoa.
So, yeah, we're going to talk about all that stuff. My name is Earl. I am an actor, improviser, and the first book over 300 pages that I read was Dragons of Autumn Twilight by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman.
Oh my God.
It was volume 1 of Dragonlance Chronicles. It's a D&D book. Yeah.
Okay,
He's a nerd, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the most nerdy thing I've ever heard you say.
Really?
Yeah, that is the most nerdy thing. Especially if that was like your starting off point.
Oh,
You know?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
how much farther can you possibly go? I'm Jen.
Very far.
Hi. I am an actor, writer, artist in general. Artiste, immersive theater enthusiast and creator, and gamer. So I don't remember the exact first book that I read that was 300 pages long, but I really, really remember loving A Wrinkle in Time. When I was
That was so good.
That
is a
book
great book.
changed my life. I was like drenched in sweat, just like in chills, shaking in my
There
chair.
are other things you could be drenched in that are
Okay.
worse.
Wow.
I was not even going that way. Jeez.
Like what, Earl? Like what?
I was thinking a giant tub of urine, but you know, whatever.
What? That's
Whoa.
wait. That as if
got
that's
so
any better.
funny
Like
So fast.
Yeah.
Like I was
Wow.
I was unprepared.
Unprepared.
Yeah.
neither.
Thanks
Never
for
mind.
derailing my awakening.
No, it's not. No,
A
it's
different kind of awakening. Okay.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Kaitlyn Fae. I'm an actor, singer, a
I'm so
writer, and
sorry.
director. And I think the first 300-page book, something just happened. Jen's having something right now. Something's going on. Something is happening right next to me, and I don't know what. But nevertheless, I'll continue.
I'll have what she's having.
Yeah, straight up. I'll have whatever she's having.
Penicillin.
Vitamin D.
Ooh.
So let's see. I read aside from the Harry Potter books, when I was 8, I bought this book called The Legend of Dragonhome by John Peel.
Another
Oh, I don't know
dragon
that one
book.
yet.
Remember those
yeah.
like book fairs that would come to your school?
Right.
Scholastic?
The Scholastic, and then you would
Right.
send it in order.
Yeah, so it was a Scholastic book.
I think so, yeah.
Awesome.
And I read it, and I remember there was like this one scene where the protagonist it was basically Jane Eyre with dragons. So she
my
like kisses
God.
her boss.
I'm already
Whoa,
sold.
that I love it. Jane Eyre is one of my favorites.
Yeah, but it was
I
like
love Jane
Game
Eyre.
of Thrones. It was like medieval. And so
Right.
I was like, oh, they're kissing, gross. And then I busted it out a few years later. And when I got to that scene, I was like, ooh, they're kissing. Juicy.
Oh, Mr. Rochester.
All
yeah,
right.
Mr. Rochester or Lord Sander. That was his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lord Sandy.
Yeah, all right, that's
Wow.
it.
Okay. Okay. How can I follow that? Hi guys. I'm Walter. I am a cameraman, photographer, and martial artist. And the first. I don't think I've read a book that's 300 pages long.
Come on.
Not even
No,
just-
no,
Walter's not educated.
I know.
The Bible, obviously.
I just. Never mind. No, I think yeah. audiobook. I just let the pastor or the priest tell me what's in the Bible. No, I think the first book I want to say. I just want to say like it was Conan series. Like I went to the library and found like these
Nice.
old Conan.
Robert E. Howard.
Yeah,
right.
like stories
Tales of Conan.
and I just picked it up and started reading it. That and Yeah, I would say
so it's
Conan.
like a compilation of Conan's stories?
No,
or?
they're like spin-off books, kind of like like there's these other authors would start writing about like Star Wars, like before it got all was out decided to be out of canon. They have all these like Conan.
Is it Conan or Conan?
Conan the Barbarian.
Conan.
So it's Conan,
Yeah,
not like Conan O'Brien.
Conan.
Yeah, Conan. It's Conan O'Brien and Conan.
Conan.
Oh, what? I did not
I
know
did not
that.
know. Yeah, that was Conan.
Conan. Conan the Barbarian from Cimmeria.
I thought you were
Yeah.
just being like
Cimmerian.
oddly New Yorker.
Conan.
Conan.
No, it's Conan.
Getting his oranges.
Super Mario Brothers.
Ew, I don't like. It sounds so like.
No, but
I don't know.
I
No,
would
it sounds
recommend picking up a
Conan.
Conan book.
Sounds like gonads.
They're pretty good. Like the ones that are by Robert E. Howard are they're
Yeah,
really
yeah, and
dark.
I started picking some
very
of the.
pulpy, but they're
Interesting.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's just the way he the fan like the other authors, the spin-offs are
Right.
great. So kind of just same thing like Star Wars, like when Timothy Zahn wrote Star Wars.
yeah. The Yuzhan Fong stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
they're great stories. So I mean, there's some crappy ones, but there are some good. Conan the Barbarian.
Cool.
Admiral
Nice.
Thrawn.
Yes.
Cool. I know.
Wow, what was that? So much sarcasm.
So I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Jimmy John's, Freak Yeah, Freaky Fresh, Freaky Fast. Thank you for sponsoring us. Check out that gargantuan unwitch. And to our location sponsors, PWC, Filipino Workers Center. What's the website?
PWCSC.org.
pwcsc.org. So for everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us tonight. Don't be afraid to ask us some questions. We will try to get to them by the end of the night. So yeah, keep them coming. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about a few things. The first thing we're going to talk about is Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And then we're going to have a special guest, Yulin Kuang. We're going to bring her up in a little bit. That's going to be fun. And then we are going to go through all the news in the Geek universe and finally end off with our game for tonight. Yeah. I think we're going to play a little more Truth or Dare. Is that it? Truth and Dare?
Truth and dare.
Truth and
It's more
dare.
like it's more like at the
Tell me
same
the truth
time,
and I
like
dare
and
you.
some truth. Yeah.
Dare and Dare. So, without further ado, Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Godzilla.
Did everybody watch it?
Yes.
I did.
Unfortunately.
I know.
Unfortunately,
Walter, you
thank
saw it too?
Yep.
Okay. Who watched it? Well, I just watched it today.
I just watched it.
I
I
watched it
watched
last
it
night.
a few days ago.
Okay.
A few days ago now.
General impressions of Godzilla.
I really was not feeling it the whole time.
I
really tried.
I tried, you guys. I
tried.
really
I
tried.
think if you have to try, it's like already done.
I had no expectations.
Right.
So I mean, I took it for what it was because I seen the other ones.
Right. You saw the first
I
one,
have
right?
not seen
Yes.
the other ones.
You mean the original?
Well, that too, but the series that this was.
Well, all the other ones, like,
So-
the second,
Even the
third
Matthew
series.
Broderick one.
Yo, you
from
mean
the 90s?
Zilla?
That was bad.
Zilla
the
was
90s?
bad. Ugh.
There's
Yeah.
a 90s one,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
then there was a 2014 one. Is that
The 2014 is the first one.
The
Gotcha.
first one.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
Was
is,
that
yeah.
good?
It's the same
It was
movie.
better than the Matthew Broderick.
Yeah,
really?
yeah. But
Okay.
it's in the same vein of this film.
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah,
so,
so it's definitely-
for those of you who have seen the older versions,
Right.
is there a continued thread of like, oh, we need to save the planet by allowing these monsters to live? Is that like a theme
Yeah,
that goes through
that
all
is
of
kind
them?
of the thing, yeah.
That's
theme-
always
that
been
theme will
Godzilla
always
to
be there.
begin with.
Even in the recent anime, it's kind of that, like Godzilla as a force of nature.
Yeah.
That is part of the natural world and has to like exist in this kind of niche to keep everything in balance.
Yeah.
That's what Godzilla has always kind of been.
Like,
Oh,
Interesting.
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, speaking of anime, okay, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Godzilla or Gojira
Gojira.
is originally a Japanese movie. Mm-hmm. So the literature is Japanese. It's based off of a Japanese story.
Yes.
Because I felt like the story was very Japanese.
It's a
It
very
reminded me
Japanese
of Evangelion for some weird reason.
Well, because it always gets meta kind
yeah,
of. And
well,
like,
it's not just that. It's like there's all these creatures that you
Right.
think are bad, but they're actually hearkening like a rebirth of the earth, kind of like
Right,
an
right.
apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
Very
and-
Princess Mononoke, actually.
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
All
it's
of
very
that. It's
Japanese.
very, like,
and
yeah.
then in the beginning you have Ken Watanabe, and there's like a UN UN panel or something, and he's
Right.
like, "I have this under control." And they're like, "No, our military is gonna get in control if you don't clean this up."
Yeah.
And that's like super Evangelion. And then
Super,
they
yeah.
even go to Antarctica, and a parent
Right.
sacrifices themselves for the child,
Right.
a daughter. It just seemed very, like Evangelion to me.
I think there were probably that. I haven't read too much into the development and like pre-production for this, so I don't know if that was intentional, but it kind of felt like it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Godzilla in general, even back when like the 50s or 60s, right?
Yeah,
When it was
the old-
I think the threat has always been nuclear
It's always about
proliferation
nuclear
and
proliferation.
waste, and has to do, of course, with Japan getting bombed in World War II.
Right.
Nuclear
And
power
nuclear power.
charges these monsters, right?
Well,
Nuclear
Godzilla
power is what
specifically.
awakens Godzilla,
Right.
from the deep.
He is. It's specifically Godzilla is nuclear powered.
Yeah.
But just Godzilla. What about
Only
the
him.
others?
They're powered
not
by
really.
different other
Yeah,
things.
Other
things.
sources?
Like
Yeah.
Ghidorah
Like-
is like an electric being.
Oh, like the bird
four-headed
was
thing.
in
And
the
Forces of
volcano.
The
Right, was
Hydra
heat,
was
yeah.
I
heat.
see, I see.
Oh, and then like the moth was from the
La-
waterfall.
The water,
or
right.
The ecosystem in China.
Yeah.
So they're like
Okay.
elemental.
They're
beings.
elemental beings. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
I
I
feel
wish
like
I
this movie could have been so cool and
Same.
so good.
Same.
But it was by the guy who did Superman Returns in X2.
Who's the writer, or you mean the director?
The director was like Nicholas something, I think, and then
Sparks?
Zach.
No, I'm just kidding. It's a
Zack
romance.
Snyder or
Still a
something.
better love
The
story
director
than
wrote it with
Twilight.
some other dude, and I was so bored that I pulled out my phone in the theater. I was like, looking at who made this.
Wow.
I was in
Michael
the front row.
Dougherty.
Oh, okay,
Michael
sure.
Dougherty.
Dougherty, yeah, not Nicholas. Michael Dougherty, and he wrote it with some other guy, Zach something, right?
Singer. It's,
Yeah. It just
The thing is, it had so many plot holes.
see. I wasn't even thinking about plot
Really?
holes.
Oh,
I was.
sorry. Finish
I
your
mean, that's more important than when I just thought it was fucking
Like what-
cheesy and
Oh,
cliche as
it was very
shit.
cheesy.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, there are plot holes?
I think so.
What was the
what?
plot hole?
Well, I mean, like, as in maybe like the plot didn't quite make sense, like the scientist, right, who plays
Which one?
Millie Bobby Brown's mother.
Jill-
Vera Farmiga.
Emma.
Yeah.
Oh,
Vera
Vera
Farmiga.
Farmiga. Yeah.
Yeah. She
So-
was great.
She's great.
She was
They're
good,
such
yeah.
great actors. The thing is,
Yeah.
like, I feel like their characters are kind of jostled and asked to do
Yeah,
certain
and
things.
you don't care about the characters because you
Right.
don't know anything about
but they're
them.
doing their best,
Yeah.
know. But like, I don't know. I found her actions quite unbelievable.
I think I know what you mean. Like, all of a sudden she's like, yes, they're good for the planet. So we
Right.
should keep them. And then I think.
Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying. Like, I do think her like her 180
switch.
degree, her 180
It's like a switch, right? Yeah.
Be like, oh, now I'm gonna be a good guy. I'm gonna save
Yeah,
my
now I'm on
husband.
your side.
Blah blah blah.
But
And I'm
what?
like,
What caused it? Like,
yeah, really?
There was
like,
no catalyst.
Right.
oh, because you didn't think now you think these monsters are to destroy the world, or like,
But they are
Well-
helping the world. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'll say is that I enjoyed it a lot. And,
Really?
yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And this is why. Because I recognize that my laptop is not plugged in. Because I
Good
recognize
recognition to have.
that this is very much harkens back to the old Godzilla stories, and it's not about the humans.
Yeah.
Like zero about humans.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's not about humans because this has been a thing with kind of like monster and alien films for the last 10 years, and it's like this overemphasis on like what the humans are about. And honestly, I could give two shits. Like Transformers, I don't give a fuck about Sam Witwicky and all that. Like by the time the fourth movie came out, I was like, dude, just fucking kill all
Just
the humans.
remove the
off.
humans, yeah.
Let's talk about like what matters, the Allspark and the Primes. That's all I want.
Wait,
Wow.
sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
so you think the emphasis should and was indeed in this case on the monsters, not the
Yes.
humans.
I think it could have even gone more into the
Well,
monsters.
'cause
But
a lo-
if you're, oh yeah, go ahead.
a lot of people who go to watch these and the fans of
Right.
these, the humans are just the bridge to get the monsters
They're
fighting. Really,
scaffold-
they're just
like a
there to
skeleton.
watch the.
They're a
the
scaffolding.
Fight,
You know
the
what?
monster
That's an
fight.
interesting turn of
Yeah.
perspective. I
Yeah.
think if I valued that as much as you do,
Right.
I was
then
gonna say the
wouldn't-
same thing,
I
yeah.
would
Yeah.
not have such a negative reaction.
I mean-
to this
Same,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the very reason people watch gore films. Like
Right.
Yeah,
they
you're-
don't care about the blood; they just want to see the
just
gore,
want
the
the
chop,
slash
someone getting
and the-
chopped
yeah.
up,
I'm
blah
just
blah
a
blah.
fan of kaiju, and it's like
But I loved Pacific Rim. You know?
But you hated Pacific Rim.
I haven't seen Pacific Rim.
You haven't seen
No, I
Pacific
haven't
Rim.
The
seen
first
I love
one by
Pacific
Guillermo
Rim.
del Toro,
Yeah, I haven't
I
seen
thought
it.
it was fantastic. But like, I just
But
feel
there
like the
are-
story,
Right. Go
perfect
ahead.
storytelling needs to meld the story and all its characters, right? Like,
But
you
I
can't
don't
just
think
leave
Earl
some
cares
out.
about the story. He
That's
just
what I
wants
mean. Like,
the
it's a-
monsters to
We just
fight.
wanna see the
Story-
fight.
Well, not even just
For
the
him, it's
fight.
a
You just said that.
platform.
You just said
No,
it's about
I-
the monsters.
It is about monsters, but it's monsters about the monsters and their symbolism.
There's
But it's
no
like-
story there, Earl.
Well, no, but
That-
like,
I know
there's
there's-
people
there's
saying
no-
like, there's people like, even for me, like when I watch Transformers, especially Transformers 2 and
Right.
past, like, you could literally cut out every single human being and just focus on the Transformers story arc,
Right.
and it would have worked for me because the humans were actually more of a distraction
Absolutely.
than a plot device. You know, they
No- Go ahead, sorry.
Then why are they included?
just because they,
It's star power. They have
star
to be
power,
there.
and then the executives want them to be
Right.
there.
Well, I mean, in general, most humans like to see stories involving humans. I think I can safely say that's
No,
a
yeah, of course.
fact.
Yeah.
And what you're
I don't
saying,
know.
you
I
okay?
think-
All right, all right, all right, all right. Assuming-
Right. I think people who do what we do
Yeah.
like to see humans in it and like to see human connection. But
Okay.
there's very much like a huge swath of people that don't give a rat's ass.
Like
That's
we
fine, that's
we
fine.
watched Transformers as kids,
Right.
even though they're cartoons. We were literally watching these robots the whole time. You barely saw people
But
in
the
the cartoons.
robots have anthropomorphic qualities. They act like humans.
Absolutely.
And that's why you guys liked it.
There's, I mean,
Correct,
even
which
the
is
monsters,
I'm saying like
yeah.
could have been enough for Transformers. Now for
Yeah.
Godzilla, going back to Godzilla,
These monsters. Okay, I assume you also like stories involving monsters fighting each other, but you weren't a fan. I mean, you took it for what it was, right?
yeah,
But
I had no
you didn't think it was great
expectations.
the way Earl thinks it's great.
I don't think.
I was just
or here,
entertained.
You
right?
thought it was great. You thought it was
No,
great.
no. What
Yeah.
I said is I
did say it was
I
great.
enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
You
I-
said I thought it was great.
Okay, I thought it was a. All right, so maybe then I should clarify.
Okay.
I thought it was.
It's not
He
pick a fight here.
did. He was like, I thought it was great, you guys.
I loved it. I had so much fun. But I can say that and
You were
still.
entertained.
Yeah, I was entertained,
Okay.
and still admit that it wasn't. I probably wasn't like a good film.
I get you. I know
You know
films
what
like
I'm
that.
Pick so many things apart. Like when Ziyi Zhang, right, who's one of my favorite Chinese
I
actors.
didn't like her acting.
Oh, is
But
that who that
she-
was? I was trying
Yeah,
to figure
yeah.
out. I was like,
She was
who is?
young, yeah.
Crouching
She was like-
Tiger.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I felt like they really underwrote her.
It's her.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize her hair with her hair.
This
But
is-
then, like
Go
that
ahead.
whole
Sorry.
part where they're like researching when they encounter Monster Zero, right? And she's like
Yeah.
flipping through the mythology of like, we haven't seen anything like this. And I was like, wait, there's like 3 dragon heads
Yeah.
on a dragon body. It's
called a Hydra.
It's called a Hydra,
Yeah.
a dragon, or a Cerberus. Like pick
Yeah.
your.
But
you know
these
what
are
I mean?
those are European mythology, okay?
But
She was
she
talking
should know
about
this.
China.
She's like an expert in
She's like-
mythology.
She
yeah.
said something like, "Oh, when this existed, it was so old, and everybody was so terrified that they didn't even
Right.
log this monster." And it's
Yeah,
like,
there's like no name for it. Yeah, there was
It's called
Hydra.
Hydra. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Here's what I will
Cerberus,
say
yeah.
that like all
Marvel
the human
Comics
stuff.
basically named their organization.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking.
A lot of the human stuff, and it was a weird thing. Whenever I was watching them talk about these really fantastical these fantastical elements, like the Hydra and how Godzilla is a force of nature, it felt really weird. It almost felt like none of the actors believed what they were saying.
that's,
movie?
Yeah.
I felt like Vera Farmiga had a hard time believing what she was saying half the time. Like when she was having that confessional video
Right.
in front of her daughter and stuff, I was like, half reading for it, is she being held at gunpoint to say this? Like, what is,
Right.
like you're left doubting through the first half of the film whether or not she is actually like being held against her will or,
Right.
according to her will. What is she
Yeah.
trying to do with these monsters, you know?
Well, what about Bobby Millie Brown? What do you guys think?
I thought
of
she
her?
was
Bobby
great.
Brown?
Millie
Always
Bobby Brown.
good.
Yeah,
She's fantastic.
The scenes
absolutely
with her,
like,
Charles
yeah.
Dance, and Vera, what's her name?
Farmiga?
Those were always well
Yeah,
acted.
Yeah.
absolutely.
The other ones, very questionable.
Yeah, I forget the actor who plays the dad. I forgot his
He
name.
looks really familiar.
Oh, he's,
he's
um,
from somewhere.
Well, he's man. I'm like,
Friday Night
Yeah.
Lights. There you
Okay.
go. Right.
And now I'm just nitpicking because I can.
You should.
I was like, I was excited because I saw all these people of color in
Right.
the trailer. You know, and
Oh,
then the main character was
what's his name?
still a straight white dude
I know, right?
with his straight white family.
That's very true.
And then there was the mom and the daughter, Zheng, and then just like an African American female officer, and then those were all the women. and the rest were dudes.
Ice Cube's kid. What's his name?
That's his kid.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh,
I
did not know that.
Y'all didn't see Straight Outta Compton?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is
Because
that?
I don't bang.
Oh, yeah.
She ain't from nowhere.
Because I ain't from nowhere.
All right, but no, overall I had fun.
Sorry.
And I don't know, dude, that last fight between Ghidorah and Godzilla, where he goes thermonuclear, that shit was badass.
I mean, it looked really cool. Don't get me wrong. It looked really cool.
Right.
I'm just curious, like, because they mentioned Skull Island.
It's
so.
Yeah.
I just feel like they made him way too gigantic.
See, they're going to have to.
They're going to have to power him down too,
or they're going to have to power Kong up when we get to him.
Yeah,
because Kong wasn't featured in this movie.
Yeah, they're setting it up for.
So they did mention Kong.
Yeah,
they mentioned
Skull Island.
He's in the
Kong.
same universe.
Right? But
Yeah.
because in the expectation is there's going to be a Godzilla versus King Kong fight.
Oh, it's already in post.
Yeah. So it's going to happen. But I'm just like, they have to power him up or power him down somehow.
They're going to come up with some kind of reason. Because even through the ages of Godzilla, during like the 3 ages of like classic Godzilla, he was different sizes through each.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because there's a classic Kong versus Godzilla. That was actually a good. If you guys can find that, that's
Like
a
an
good
old school film.
Old school
Oh
film. Yeah.
There's so many.
Is it just me, or was this Godzilla kind of cute? Because he looked kind of
He
chubby.
was cute.
Like I was like, oh, it's like
looked like a
chubby.
little rock
yeah,
monster.
like the cute
There you go.
Gogeta.
You know what it is
Look
too?
at it.
Think
It's
it's
a
cute.
tummy.
It's
No,
the
it's really
cheeks.
cute.
It's
Like-
the Gojira cheeks.
Yeah, no, look,
that
the tummy was like,
radioactivity?
and it was like really slow. And I was like, oh, it's cute.
It's very similar to
He's
the
like-
2014 one, right?
Yeah.
He's like an upright stegosaurus.
Well, I heard
Because I was like, because he has like, wait, he's got arms. Because when he picked something up, didn't he? And I was like, oh, he's got arms. Like,
Right.
so cute.
Oh, Gojira.
You know, the Japanese thought he was overweight. The 2014,
Really?
yeah.
In 2014.
The 2014
Like,
one.
stop eating rice, Godzilla.
Wait, am I wrong in saying that the original Godzilla was also kind of looked like that, and then through the years they tried to slim him down, and now they're going back to the original look?
The original Godzilla was not as like beefy as this one is.
This one was pretty big.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought this one was cute and
Yeah.
like chubby. Like,
He was.
I don't know.
he's American Godzilla. So
So cute. All those hamburgers.
I know,
he's been hanging out in
dude.
America a little too much.
Sorry, the
Yeah.
portion sizes is too big.
Yeah.
There's a line in there saying like, has he been working out? Because they're saying that he looks more.
He looks
yeah.
jacked.
He looks jacked. Yeah.
Right.
I thought he
I don't
looked
know.
fluffy.
We gotta know.
Oh
his
no, it's
BMI.
because he was getting
His
nuked up.
BMI increased.
BMI.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's definitely worth a watch if you're a kaiju fan. Like Jen and Kaitlyn are saying, just be aware of like it's the way it tells the story or the lack thereof of the story.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you see our side, Earl.
Yeah.
of course I do.
I say go see it.
Go see it.
It's entertaining. It's not deep. It's a good date film. You guys can just
So you can, slip in with the quickness.
yeah.
So going from Godzilla, we're going to go straight into our special guest. Please join me in welcoming Miss Yulin Kuang. Yulin.
Okay, hi.
Welcome.
So
Hey.
Yulin is a writer director and
Yeah, I'll read out
Yeah,
her
yes,
fantastic
absolutely.
bio.
Stop trying to take Jen's
This is
thunder.
super
Sorry.
embarrassing. Yulin Kuang is a LA-based screenwriter and director. She is currently writing the comedy feature Jade Palace for New Line Cinema, the same company that made Crazy Rich Asians, and was most recently the creator and showrunner of I Ship It, an original musical comedy series premiering on the CW on August 19th.
woo.
And she got nominated for a WGA award for her work on Love Daily, which is a romance anthology series for Awesomeness TV on Hulu. And she has two YouTube channels, Yulin is Working and Shipwrecked Comedy. Each of them have over 2 million views, fancy, for original scripted web series. And all her stuff, you can find it on Nerdist, Huffington Post, IndieWire, BuzzFeed. And you're a Carnegie Mellon person.
Carnegie Mellon.
So
Those East Coast
fancy.
private schools.
And you have 2 cats. amazing. She has a cat too. She has a cat.
do.
These bios were never meant to be read back to you.
It's weird.
Surprise!
Bio by Yulin Kuang. It's you on IMDb.
That's hilarious. Whenever I
You
see
have to
that
write.
bio
Okay,
by
I wrote it.
artist, I was like,
All right, so just to start it off, Yulin, what is your Hogwarts house?
What is my okay? So here's the thing. Every single test I've ever taken sorts me into Ravenclaw. Every single person that I know
Right.
well has sorted me into Slytherin.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
question. So Pottermore put you in Ravenclaw?
Sure did.
Okay,
Whoa.
the question is, and we did this a
And
few
I-
weeks ago when we were drunk at a bar.
The time.
Okay, have you
Time
heard of
interview,
the Time magazine quiz? It's supposed to be the most accurate house sorting Harry Potter quiz out there because it was developed by like social scientists from like Yale or something.
Well, so I've taken Pottermore. I've taken the BuzzFeed test that takes all of the questions from Pottermore and gives you every single one of them.
Right.
I've taken the Leaky Cauldron one. And then
Right,
back,
old
when
school
I
one,
was
yeah.
like just super into it, I would take like every test that was around floating on the internet. So I don't know if I've taken this Time magazine one, but I would bet that I would get sorted into Ravenclaw. Like tests love to sort me into Ravenclaw.
Well, the only reason I suggested it is because I had a bit of an existential crisis, if you will,
At the
when
bar.
I took this test. Because
places.
of my whole life, I always identified and got sorted into Ravenclaw. And when this was, I read that this was the most accurate test out there. And when I took it, I got. It still hurts when I think about it. I got Hufflepuff. You should be proud. I was like, I don't want to be a Hufflepuff.
Newt
Yeah,
Scamander
for
is a Hufflepuff.
For people,
Hufflepuff.
I think you've got the coloring.
No.
ooh.
You-
For
you
people
need-
like
what do you feel like in your heart?
Yeah, in your heart, you
Feel
can
like,
tell who you are. Yeah.
I feel like I am a Ravenclaw with highly Slytherin tendencies.
That's what I thought for myself.
That's fair.
which is
you're
because
a
what I find it funny is because
Slytherin
basically it's like
Claw.
how you see yourself
Exactly.
and how others see you. So
Oh, totally.
yeah, so
Right.
if people
What
see you as a
people say
Slytherin.
with like astrology signs, you know, like what is
Yeah.
your sun sign and what is your rising is apparently what you see yourself as and what other people see in you, right?
What? In
Your-
the quiz.
yeah, so it's how
Yeah.
you see yourself.
Right. So
So
you're
you
inputting
want to
your
be
own-
That's true. That's
Ravenclaw.
true.
you want to be seen as
But I got Hufflepuff.
But-
Okay, what do you guys
Or-
what do you guys test as? I want to go around.
I don't.
I test
even
as a
remember.
Gryffindor.
Oh, I see.
I
that.
think-
Yeah.
with no other like inclination.
The second is always Ravenclaw.
Interesting.
Very
Yeah.
Aslan like qualities.
Like Narnia.
You
Aslan?
just made his day.
I know.
I feel like Gryffindor
Susan.
Peter.
Yeah. He does a very good Gandalf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We play Truth or Dare tonight later.
Right.
We'll see your impression. Yeah.
I definitely see myself as a Gryffindor, but I have very Slytherin tendencies.
Got it.
I
as
think
well.
you have to. I think ambitious, like smart people are going to be seen as Slytherins, and it's not bad
thanks.
to be ambitious.
No.
No, not at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
that's why I've never gotten Slytherin.
All right, you're out.
Wow.
No
Yeah.
wonder, Walter.
Well, until
it out.
recently, before this horrible moment in my life, I would always get Ravenclaw with Slytherin tendencies.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Never
I think-
Gryffindor. Yeah.
I can't really remember. I think I got Gryffindor, but I'll probably take the test now
I
that
could see
People
Gryffindor
magazine.
for you. Yeah. But
Take
yeah.
it.
So
Man. So what was the first thing you were a fan of? Like when you got into fandom, like what was the first big thing that made you go like, actually, I want to like move vertically down this elevator right now?
What?
vertically down. This
Like deeper and deeper into
Oh,
fandom.
that sounded weird. Yeah.
It's funny because like I'm from one of the last generations I would say that remembers a time before the internet. So
Yes.
there were things like I remember. Oh, I'm sorry.
The microphone.
Talking
Yeah.
into the microphone. So I remember the first time I watched A Few Good Men. I was like I was
Nice.
way too young. I
Few
was
Good
like
Men,
8 years
yeah.
old. But I remember thinking like Tom Cruise and Demi Moore should kiss. And so like I would go to bed at night, my little 8-year-old self, and
Shipping
I
them?
would like shipping them, like writing,
Right.
Thinking, like, they should
basically
kiss.
rewriting the movie in my head.
Nice.
I would be like, okay, so that scene, I'm just gonna change the ending in my head and use the photos in my brain box to watch
Nice.
it. Like like a fan vid almost.
Absolutely.
Wow,
So there was
8 years
that.
old.
I know. So then the internet came on, and around that time I was really obsessed with Jag, probably because I imprinted upon a few good men.
Right,
so I
right.
remember the first fan vid that I ever downloaded on my slow ass dial-up. It was a Harm and Mac like fan vid set to REO Speedwagon's "Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore." But the first fan fiction that I ever wrote was for Harry Potter.
Really?
Nice.
How old were you?
I think I was in 5th grade. Like, I think terms and services on fanfiction.net said you had to be 13.
Right.
And so
I would always lie to you. I would always say I was 13.
Well, I like logicked it. I was like, well, in China, they count the numbers.
In the lunar calendar.
Lunar birthday.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
So
What was the premise of your first Harry Potter?
was it slash fiction?
Well, here's the confession: is like I had been reading fan fiction for like maybe several weeks
Wow.
before I ever wrote it. And this one author, she hadn't updated, and I was like, "What the fuck? I want to know how this ends." Like this is why I got into fan fiction. So then I just like wrote an ending to her fanfic, and then
Wow.
I like kind of changed it a little and
Right.
published it.
And you were like in 5th grade.
way.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can we get you to finish Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
There's
Game of
gotta be so many.
Game of Kuang.
We should check an
George.
archive of our own and like see
She's
if
coming
it's,
up. She's coming for you.
What
Here's
house
Storm of Swords.
What house would you guys be in Game of Thrones?
Oh.
I know what I know.
I know what I want.
I mean, like,
You're a Stark, aren't you?
I soared into Stark, so
I know what I am.
Yeah.
Just protagonist.
I would-
Yeah.
I know it's horrible.
He
I
must be
know.
John.
He's
So
a
what are
hero.
you?
I identify the most with House Tyrell. I would say like
I'm Tyrell,
I,
yeah.
I love them
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot.
definitely a
I think you
Tyrell.
got that Ravenclaw
Yeah.
Tyrell
Yeah,
bug.
thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Thank you.
They're
Totally.
climbing roses. I love it.
Same.
But I will say this last season, I've always loved like a bad bitch with good hair. So like Cersei
So-
Lannister.
Fair.
Oh,
and,
Lannister. I've
like,
always identified the Lannisters
yeah,
too.
I love the Lannisters. I loved Sansa. I loved
Sansa.
Marjorie Tyrell. Like just bad bitches with good hair.
Yeah.
But so
Daenerys.
when Brienne came on the scene, I didn't care about her that much.
because of the hair.
The hair.
Has no hair.
I'm
Girl, not even like her personality,
No.
her monologues.
She's gotta have good hair.
Yeah, she's got.
She gotta have good hair.
But so
Good her.
in like one of the final episodes of the season, she gets knighted, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jaime's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
"Rise, Brienne of Tarth,
Sir-
a knight
Sir
of-
Brienne.
Sir Brienne
Sir
of
Brienne,
Tarth,
yeah.
a knight of the Seven Kingdoms," and like that was like the same week I was getting my like DGA membership.
Oh,
and
nice.
I remember being like, "This is what it feels like."
Yes.
A male-dominated field.
Oh, that's perfect.
Finally getting like the stamp of approval.
Oh,
and it's
that's
like
so
I've been
amazing.
doing the
So
job,
her
but
tear.
they're
So
finally-
you could forgive the bad hair, right? In that moment.
Well, she's now like one of my top 4 female characters.
Like
on the show.
now that the series is over.
Yeah. Well, I
In
had like
retrospect.
2-3 episodes left to stand. So
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm definitely a Targaryen. I mean, I
You
just
totally are,
Interesting.
and you're
I
gonna
can't
go
think-
mad and burn a
what
city
does that
down.
mean to you? What does Targaryen mean to
Well,
you?
I mean,
Fiery.
it just means that there is literally fire in my blood. Like I have like
Literally, there's literally
Literally?
fire
Literally?
in her blood. Whoa,
Midichlorians? No.
she's a dragon. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I have like a very self-fueling internal fire, you know, and I have like a passion for creating, and I also get angry quite a lot, you know, but I have to like temper my temper to like fit the situation.
A Song of Ice and
And
Fire.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And I also find myself like on fire for social justice a lot, you know, if I feel
So
like
you're
somebody-
Daenerys, basically.
Well, I mean, the better part of like season 3 Daenerys is what I look up. The
Question is, who's your Ser Jorah?
I know.
Oh.
Sir Jorah.
There's a friend zone in there
I
somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure there's a
I think it's her
lot.
Dario
Khal
Naharis.
My Khal
Her
Drogo.
dog.
Khal Drogo.
Everyone
yeah.
after him.
Rodney was like, "Are you sleeping with your nephew?" I'm like, "Please, God,
please,
no."
please.
He looked like Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
If he looks like Jon Snow, no, I can't.
Oh my
The
god.
Targaryen were brother and sister for centuries.
Yes.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, if you say you're
Yeah.
Targaryen, you better commit. Don't, none of this inconsistent logic bullshit.
By policy,
You can't cherry pick
not
like.
by
I'm just kidding.
practice.
No.
Who would
No,
you
I'm
be?
definitely Tyrell because
Oh, okay.
well, I do like flowers, but I think the main component of the Tyrell is they're very much, kind of like Ravenclaw. They enjoy wisdom and beauty, but first and foremost, they're known for being tactful. So I am an
Cunning.
ambitious person.
Right.
I don't know if I'd use the word cunning because cunning almost has a Lannister feel to it. Like there's almost like some ulterior motive there. I feel like, the Tyrells have a lot
But
tact.
and the roses have thorns. That's what they
also
say.
they're climbers.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
high
Well,
guarded.
fuck.
There's a sting. There's a
Maybe I
sting
am
to
cunning.
that.
Well, I don't think cunning is
Or maybe
necessarily a
not
bad
Tully. I don't
thing.
know.
though.
Yeah.
You're
Because, I mean-
what's the
I'm
rivers?
But Tully.
Tully.
I did the most comprehensive Game of Thrones character quiz out there. I took and I got Catelyn.
Catelyn
Tully.
Stark.
Yeah.
Catelyn.
Catelyn.
Because I'm
Oh,
Catelyn.
Tully.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, Caitlin,
I don't know. I want to say.
What are you?
I kind of want to say
Stark.
Stark too,
I can see
but
that.
I want to.
Stark,
But
yeah.
I kind of.
You want to be a Lannister?
No,
don't you?
I wanna-
Mormont, actually.
I was thinking of Bravos actually.
Oh,
I know.
Bravos
We're-
who
I'm
wanted
just.
to
Westeros.
I'm
martial
Bravo.
artist.
Why do you want to be
Dude, I'm
Bravos?
telling you.
Oh, you want to be what's his
Faceless
face?
man.
The
Jaqen H'ghar.
No,
Jaqen H'ghar.
no,
Jaqen
the swordsman.
Serial
The
Pharrell.
dancing is
Serial
Sera
Pharrell.
Yes.
and we're just free folk. Like we just
he's
don't
tiny
believe
like
in
you.
that too.
Jeez.
No, but
Just
because
nut
he's cute.
checking.
But he's like
know.
also deadly. He's like short, but he's like he can fight all of them.
No,
Yeah.
I was-
But deadly.
But deadly. Yeah.
Like,
He's so cute.
we were actually having this exchange over about the pits of the fighting pits and the water dancer, right? I was like, that dude is definitely an Escrimador.
Yeah.
Because
The
okay.
movements and all that
just this,
stuff.
and then the umbrella block.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yet another thing they never really brought back. We always
Right.
thought that like Serial Pharrell was somehow gonna be Jaqen
Right.
H'ghar, but no.
No, they said
Gosh.
he
Yeah.
died. They said he died.
can you imagine the payoff right there? I would have been like,
Are we talking about this right now?
no.
All right, sorry, we got carried.
So
carried
Yulin,
away.
what's
Okay.
up?
So Yulin, yeah.
So we know that your series, I Ship It, is now on CW for a second season. And like this particular property of yours has like metamorphosed through like many iterations,
It's like a
right?
Pokemon.
Yeah, I
with
know.
3
It's like
iterations.
Which one?
That's
Charmander,
true.
Charizard. No, Charmander,
Charmeleon,
Charmeleon,
Charizard.
Charizard. So
Yes.
is it at like a Charizard now that it's like getting renewed?
Or a Gojira.
Okay, August
Gojira.
19th at 9:30 p.m. It will become Charizard.
Nice.
She wants to be the very best, and no one ever was. So
Okay.
we'll have
tell
a
us
watching
about-
party, right?
Yeah.
We'll
We'll have
get
a watch
together.
party.
A watch party.
But like, walk us through the process of like how you started at the beginning and what was the
Yes.
writing process for
Yes.
arriving at each iteration? Because I think they're different, right? Each one is like slightly
They sure are.
totally different. Yeah.
So the short film is about a fangirl who's trying to get revenge on her ex-boyfriend through a Wizard Rock Battle of the Bands, which is a musical movement about Harry Potter.
What year did that one come out?
I want to say 2014.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so 5 years later. All right.
And then the first season was about a fangirl who wanted to start a nerd rock band to get over a broken heart. And then the third season, or sorry, not third season. The
Third
the
iteration.
TV show,
iteration.
the TV show is about a fangirl who writes fan fiction for her favorite TV show, and then becomes a writer's assistant on the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of had this evolution. The short film was born because it's funny. Like at the time, I was really deeply entrenched in the YouTuber world,
Right.
so I was really interested in how you know there's this part in Westworld where the Man in Black says to them, "It's when you're suffering you're the most real."
Right.
I fucking love that show. So good.
It's a controversial
Chills.
one. Not everyone loves it, but I
love the
enjoy.
first
I love
season
the
a lot.
first
I
season,
enjoy
yeah.
a lot about it, and what I enjoyed about that line is that's how I feel about YouTubers as well. So they'll do these. A lot of daily vloggers at the time were breaking up. I don't know. There was something about 2014.
Something in the air.
There's something in the air.
Mercury
People were breaking up.
retrograde. Yeah.
And so I kept on seeing these videos popping up of YouTubers being like, "And now we're broken up," and announcing their breakups, and I was like, fascinating. It's like
How can I
No, it's
monetize?
great.
You totally worked that into
You
shipping.
worked, you Slytherin.
Because I was like, it's kind of a fascinating concept where you're performing some of the sadness, but also
Right.
like it's real, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what has always fascinated me is like this line of what's real, what's not real, where does it begin and where does it end, and what's that performance? And so I was like, all right, I'm going to tell a love story about two YouTubers, and then somehow. I can't remember exactly when. I was like, let's make it more specific. Let's go into the world of Harry Potter fandom, because that's the world I come from.
I loved all the references.
I'm so glad. And then I had just met this singer-songwriter YouTuber named Kirsten Hippie, who wrote Wizard Rock. And I was like, hey, could you write a couple original songs for the short film thing I'm doing?
Cool.
And I forgot to mention, this is for New Form Digital, which is Ron Howard and Brian Grazer's like first experiment, where they did an incubator series. So it was a short film for that incubator, and we did the short. New Form then took it to the CW, and they were like, "Hey, yo, wanna do a thing here?" And the CW was like, "Yeah, put it on Seed. That's our digital platform."
Nice.
So Seed was really interesting. That first season was interesting to me because it, like indie television doesn't really exist, but I've somehow managed a way to like manifest it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So true.
That's so
Yeah.
badass.
And so I feel like that first season, I love it a lot. But I think that it reflects me kind of like learning the ropes a little bit on how to manage for the first time, like network notes, studio notes.
Oh my God,
And then
yeah.
also like I had this like really thriving fandom at the time, not so much anymore, but at the time I was like happening on 2014.
I'm sure
like
with the
your
release
social
of your
world?
next,
Right.
you will be even bigger. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, no. So
Like Constance who? You know what I'm saying?
Oh. That rhymes.
Wow.
New Line
Constance
Cinema sips tea.
It's all Yulin Kuang.
So around 2014, that was when I was like reading everything that was being written about me on Tumblr, and so
Oh
I
my
went
God.
So all the 14-year-old girls writing about you.
honestly, some of them were like 22-year-olds.
I mean, me
some of them
too.
were-
I was like 24 at that time also. You know what I'm saying?
There were enough people that it was like, I would always find like some new piece of meta that was like, it's interesting how Yulin's work explores these like romantic themes, but we really think it's kind of
great.
problematic, and it like
Oh, really?
has these nice guy tropes in it, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't want to tell problematic stories.
But at least you're getting, this is publicity.
yeah,
Because people
Publicity.
are consuming your work
Right.
and writing about
That's
it.
true.
So it's a good
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
I was like living a dream fully in that respect.
Yes.
And so I was reading all this stuff that like fans were saying, and then I was taking in all these notes from the studio and from the network. And so I was kind of like juggling all these things, and they were like, we loved all these things about the short film. Could you just do that as a series, but make it a little broader? So instead of just like Harry Potter, nerd rock, you should do like general nerd rock, a bunch of different types of shows. So I was like, yeah. And I'm like definitely a people pleaser and an obliger. And so I was like, I want to try and take every single note. And I didn't realize that you can kind of do a dance of like
Like a mishmash.
figuring out which notes are, what's the note behind the note, essentially.
Right.
So I think season 1 was me trying to take every single note, like all notes are equal. Like the fan who's living in Iowa saying something on Tumblr has equal relevance in my mind as like the CW exec who's giving me notes and money.
Keyword money.
Yeah, and so I was just like, I was worrying about too many things. And so I think season 1, when you watch it, it kind of has that feel of like being pulled in a couple different directions. So when they came back to me a couple of years later, we had won the Streaming Awards, yay! And they asked me, "Do you want to do a season 2?" I was like, "Yes, but can I like scrap season 1, total series
Wow.
reboot, set
Page
it in
1
an
rewrite.
alternate universe?"
Oh my God.
That's
Hey.
awesome.
Brave.
Yeah.
And they were like, yes.
That's the thing. I think I was just so ballsy because I was so young and
Yeah,
dumb
yeah.
that they were like, yeah.
That's the best,
God,
though.
wow.
That's the
That's
best.
So they didn't even have a debate about it,
Yeah,
or they're
they're
just
just like,
like,
okay.
sure.
Sounds good. And like, I would never ask that now because I'd be like, I'd be
There's
like,
too much at
you gave
stake.
me so much money,
Right.
you're renewing
Yeah,
this show
yeah.
that, and you it was obviously like something exciting about it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, I was plucky. So I was just like, I don't
Kudos to
really-
you.
Thank you.
honestly.
And a 10% raise.
That's your inner Gryffindor. And your inner
Gryffindor.
people pleaser is your inner Hufflepuff. See, there's one in all of us, guys. Yeah, there's a little bit of all.
But yeah, I didn't relate as much to the music storylines of the first, like the short film and the series, because it's the like great tragedy of my life that I have no musical talent whatsoever.
Oh no.
So
That's not true.
I was like, I want to tell my story because every version of this has been a fangirl fantasy in some ways. So I
Right.
wanted to tell like my own origin story from being like a fan fiction writer to becoming a creator in her own right.
Yes.
Totally.
That's
So
great.
it's more personal in
Yeah.
that sense.
Yes.
Wow.
Was it
This is
all?
amazing.
Was it all you, or did you have a writing team helping you out
I
and
had
everything?
an amazing writing room on both seasons. Season 2, we definitely expanded. We had some incredible writers in there. We broke the story. It's great.
How big
Yeah.
was your team? Like how?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by team. Because I would say our writers, we had me, Ann Lewis Hamilton, who was kind of my number 2 in the room, Rachel Kiley, Merrigan Mulhern, Philip Labies, just one guy in our room. So 5 women. But our
amazing.
writer's assistant, Amelia Swadine, she also comes from fandom and is incredible. And then we had a team of 3 singer-songwriters, and then our composer that worked with all 3 of them. And then, our actor. It's just such a
That's awesome.
collaboration
Yeah.
that I would
Yeah.
say the team it's a village.
So the song wasn't. It was just kind of a team effort, or a couple of people that was specifically doing songs was their thing.
Yeah, like in our writer's room, we would get to a point where there was a song, and then we'd be like, song, 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 song. Like, that's what it says. Maybe here are some things that are in the song.
Right.
And then it would go off to some poor songwriter whose job
Yeah.
it was to spin that into gold.
Okay, yeah, I was always fascinated by like with musicals and how do they write the script and then how it cuts into song and then who decides that.
I think
Right.
there's a different process for everybody, but that was ours.
Wow.
Right. Oh, something you said earlier about like taking notes from different people and then feeling like jostled in different directions. That led into a question I was about to ask you, because like what originally drew me to you was when I was putting out a question to the internet going like, how is fandom functioning in how we consume art today?
Right.
Does that affect showrunners? Does that affect writers and how we create stories now, knowing that audience members are expecting certain things? And you partially answered that, but like, how do you think that like fandom has changed the way we make art, if it has?
I think it's become kind of a mind game. I was gonna say mind fuck, but can I
You can say mindfuck.
Yeah,
You
it's
say it.
it's
Fuck,
it's
fuckity
kind of
fuck.
a mind fuck because it's kind of like initially I remember the very first time that I posted something and some stranger that I hadn't sent this to like posted in the tags like, this is an interesting show, and I was like, who are you? And I just like reblogged everything, and I was like, yes, these are my answers to all your questions, and blah blah blah. And I engaged so much, and it was so exciting. And I think I had this energy because I come from fandom, and so it was my first time being on
Right.
the other side of that. But I think eventually it can get to a place where you care too much about what the fans are saying, and that can lead you astray. I think because you lose sight of what's a good story. And I think sometimes
Yep.
the fans can be right, and I think sometimes as a creator you kind of have to put on your blinders and be like, well, I need to tell the story that's like the most truthful to me.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna tell a nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
Caitlin.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm here nodding, and Walter's like, yeah,
Yeah,
Caitlin.
Wait,
This
Game of
whole
Thrones.
started because I talked shit about Game of Thrones, but only because I love it.
I think that's totally valid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Criticism is a way that we express
Thank
our
you.
love. Because
Thank
it's like-
you.
The thing, it's like Asian mothering. I
Yes, it's my way of expressing love for the show.
Oh
I
my
want it to
God.
be good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
realize
So-
your full potential.
Thank you. Thank you.
Which Game of Thrones
Thank you.
did not, unfortunately.
Oh,
Well, the show
Always
did,
back to it.
but yeah.
Let's see. This is a really hard question, but I don't know. Like, let's just put it out there. What do you think Asian Americans can uniquely offer to geekdom?
What can we uniquely offer?
Yeah,
Oh, that's such a big
All our
question.
trauma.
it's a big
And-
question.
all the trauma of growing up.
All the trauma of growing
Well,
up.
Who
here's
else
the
doesn't wanna hear
thing.
that?
I will say, I don't ever need to see another Asian girl with a stripe of blue.
Yeah.
or purple or any stripe color.
in her hair.
Your hair color doesn't make you interesting.
No,
Sorry.
it doesn't. And like,
Sorry,
Asian guys
sorry,
with that.
Rose, because I know you just posted on Facebook that you got a purple streak on your hair. But
I'm sorry.
Rose.
I think it's fine for some
used
of
to
us
have
to
it.
have it, but I think that that was what kind of our contribution, I guess, to fandom was for
Right.
so long.
Damn
well,
it.
and it's not just that, but like it's the rebellious, cool
Right.
Asian
Yeah,
girl.
She's so cool. She has
Streak. Edgy.
I think
And you know
somebody.
that
Gilmore
trope.
Girls had
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
Exactly.
with
Oh.
the best friend.
With
With Keiko?
Lane.
Keiko,
Lane.
yeah.
Lane. Shout out to
Lane.
Keiko.
The
What's up?
rebellious-
Keiko.
The rebellious Asian girl
Don't get
only
Keiko on the show.
exists as a counter trope to the subservient kind of
I
docile
never thought
girl,
about it like that.
which is
That's true,
honestly
yeah.
like
But then,
two sides of the same coin. Really,
but then they
yeah.
end up becoming docile to whoever they be like they
Exactly.
still
Right.
It's like
become
you
my
earned
love.
mastery
Yeah.
Oh, like
over
in
the
Tiny
rebellious
and-
girl.
yeah.
Yeah,
You've conquered her again.
Was
you
that
know?
Assassin show the one we were watching at the beginning?
Assassin show?
The
Love,
mo-
Death, Robots?
No, the Academy.
Oh,
Oh,
Umbrella
right.
Academy.
No,
Umbrella
but
Academy.
the other one, the assassin, the one with
Deathly Class.
Deadly
Class.
Deadly Class.
With
Like the-
Lara Condor, right?
It's the
Yeah.
Trinity
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
The Trinity effect.
Then she had that. She
Right.
had
Oh,
the
did
colored
she
hair,
have the
streak
colored
hair.
hair?
Oh, yeah. She had the
badass.
streaks.
She had the
But then
streak.
she-
Lana Condor, yeah.
But then she falls for the dude, even though she's more,
Laura.
you know.
Yeah.
So I guess like, are we collectively saying that we want Asian Americans to break out of the typical molds that we've been seen in?
Yeah, well, and the thing is, there is some truth to stereotypes, right? They exist for a reason, but I think that what we can bring to it is like a chance to tell our own stories a little bit more, especially because I think within the science fiction and fantasy realm, there's so much borrowed like Orientalism.
Yeah.
I would
There's tons of
say,
it. Yeah.
where it's like if you want something to feel like it's set in the future, there's Chinese
Just
in it.
Yeah. Some Blade Runner type shit.
Firefly. Yeah. It took me like the entire first series to realize that was supposed to be Chinese. I was like, no, it's not. It's no.
Blade
It's
Runner
so
is
bad.
another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's
And
a
like-
Blade Runner, yeah.
And then like on the fantasy side, there's like it's dragons. There's a mystical what is that one? There is a Marvel one that's like
Iron
Oh,
Fist.
Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Fist.
Yeah.
That's
there's
the
just a
comic
lot
book
of-
origin of that.
No,
It's
I was
pure
actually
Orientalism.
thinking of
Oh, yeah.
Benedict
Shang-Chi, too.
Cumberbatch's one.
Oh, Dr.
Oh,
Strange.
Doctor.
Strange.
Yeah,
Dr. Strange.
With
And
his
Wong.
his butler Wong.
No, with
with
Tilda
Oh,
Swinton.
Oh,
She's like
Swinton.
Tibetan.
Who's wearing
Or-
all these very like
But they made her
Yeah.
Celtic.
Very
and
right.
the,
Made her Celtic, but it's clearly Tibetan.
she's supposed to be
borrowed
Tibetan.
Well,
imagery.
Yeah.
they made what's the name of the character?
The ancient one?
The ancient one.
Yeah.
It was in a comic book. It was Tibetan
Yeah.
ancient one, but
Right.
very Orientalism. But they in the Marvel comics they made it to a title instead. So you
The
could
MCU,
be
right?
a
It can
be
Celtic.
anyone.
You can be anyone. It's a rank that's given to
That-
them.
but that's such a
isn't it?
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is.
that was
It's
definitely
just giving you
a side
allowance
step.
to white.
It was a
Right.
sidestep to
Yeah.
because and then the fact that and then Wong was a manservant, a butler.
Right. In the
Benedict
comic
Wong,
book,
the
yeah.
In the comic
actual
book, yeah.
Asian
But at least
person.
in the
They
movie
upped him
they gave
a
him
little
they
bit.
made him a sorcerer.
It's
Right.
kind of like it was like they were afraid that it would be problematic to have a mystical Asian, so then they just got rid of
Yeah,
it.
a mystical
Like,
white
"Ah,
and
They-
a bald mystical
We'll
white
just
lady.
we'll just make you.
I even want to say that they probably said that in an interview. We didn't want to be a stereotype, so we
Yes.
made her white.
Like,
You know?
So it's sad to me
Yeah.
because I'm like I think that that they probably could have done their best, and then at least one Asian guy would have gotten a job on a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Right,
You know,
that would have been great
yeah.
for that person.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess like that's where it seemed hard, so we just took it out completely. Argument
So
kind
true.
of bums me out because I'm like, you know what? I'd rather see your like shitty representation and then have like some Asian guy like collect a paycheck so
Yeah.
that he can then leverage that onto like his next
I think
project.
Ken
Right.
Watanabe would have been
Great as the ancient one.
Amazing.
amazing as the ancient one.
Oh, that would have been great.
I mean, he was already Ra's al Ghul, the Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, that was
Rachel
DC
Yeah,
though. But
right.
yeah. Yeah, but I think he would have been great ancient
Is
one.
he also the one who turns around and says Gojira?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gojira.
Gojira.
He's our friend.
I know. Yeah. We were just talking about him
Only
right
so
before.
many Asian actors that Hollywood can choose from.
I know,
He's
right?
one of them.
So last question
Yep.
for Yulin before she leaves. If you could ship 2 characters from 2 separate fandoms,
Any fandom?
who would they be?
Ooh, what a great question.
That should be in Truth or Dare later.
I was gonna say.
This is so difficult.
That's a
oh
giant
my gosh.
difficulty.
I was never a big crossover person, to be honest.
Okay.
But I'm going to try. Okay. All right. I would say Fred from Angel.
Oh, wow.
Wait, which one's
Oh.
Fred again? Winifred Burkle. She's played by Amy Acker, one of my all-time favorite
Amy
actresses.
Acker, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I love Amy Acker.
Yeah.
Her
she's
as
so
a
great.
cellist in Supernatural.
Yeah,
or-
she's great. Doesn't she die in that though?
I think so. I
Immediately?
mean, sorry, she was a
Spoiler
cellist
alert.
in MCU.
I'm
and-
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. No, it was Shield.
Yeah, Shield.
Yeah.
Fred and
Fred, and then I would ship her with Sydney Bristow from Alias.
Whoa.
what? Okay, so what makes this pairing work? Like, who is Fred and who is Sydney? Because I actually have no context
so
for this.
Winifred Burkle is this badass physicist, right?
Right.
Yeah, she gets trapped in an alternate dimension, and she still manages to survive there, but she's got a little she's been by herself and she's been like a cow slave while there. And when she finds her way back, she's obviously gone through PTSD, but she still has optimism and a sense of joy, which is probably one of my favorite things about that character.
Right.
And I also just really liked that she was in touch with her femininity. And the characters I always loved were not like the tomboys, because I kind of felt like those characters got accepted by wider fandom because they were like the boys. And I was it was like, in order to seem cool, I need to shed my femininity. So
Right.
I've always admired characters that managed to keep that and all their foibles along with it.
Amen.
And then Sydney Bristow is a spy. She's played by Jennifer Garner on Alias.
Oh, that's right.
Victor Garber's daughter. She is also very intelligent. She's deeply fucked up because I think her dad was testing her since childhood for her potential to be a
Hannah,
super spy.
Like a
basically.
River Tam.
And she, but not quite as damaged as River Tam.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say.
River was borderline
Yeah.
schizophrenic.
It's like
Sydney-
Well, there's
very,
also the character
nasal.
Hannah, which is she was raised in the wilderness by her dad.
But she wasn't in the wilderness, you know. She was
Right.
just she was just kind of isolated from other children in the sense that she knew she wasn't like them. And then I would say she still came into her own. She dated Bradley
yeah.
Cooper.
She was functioning.
when
She
you
was
date Bradley
functioning.
Cooper.
Right.
Totally forgot that.
2000s Bradley Cooper. But Sydney Bristow was one of my favorite characters when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if it's that I ship them. It's that I want to see them interact. If
right.
I could take 2 characters and put them in a scene together from any universe, I would want to see Sydney Bristow and Winifred Burkle interact.
And I liked Alias. That was a great show, and her character was awesome. For the people who might not know, though, can explain to them what shipping or shipping with the terminology you guys been using.
It is rooting
Relationship.
it's rooting for a couple to get together.
Hey.
Yeah.
So.
That's so great.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
This is
She's
amazing.
coming
Kaitlyn
up
is
with
writing
categories.
away for our
Shipping.
game later.
Even though it's Jen's job to be doing this.
well, I will come up with a
Dang, threw her under the bus.
Shipping.
I will come
Yeah.
up with a better game.
Rodney,
later.
what's up, man?
Sorry, question. Can you talk a little bit about your current project? With
Sure.
Oh
Newline?
yeah, Jade Palace.
Oh yeah. So my
top secret.
Is it top secret?
it's not top secret. I think there's a log line on Deadline.
Good enough.
Yeah. So I can pretty
That
much
opens the door, right?
say that to you.
Here.
It's about a girl named Ginger who has kind of spent her life running away from her family's Chinese restaurant, and then she returns to it to help run it with her father for the first time, and then hijinks ensue. Because it's a comedy. I always say it with the voice it's a thoughtful drama, but it's a comedy. That's a comedy.
Did you guys fully announce the full cast yet? Or?
Oh, it's not there yet.
No,
Not there yet.
yeah,
We
I
are
haven't
writing
seen
for
it.
that.
Just
I am
writing
writing
it.
it. I turned it in draft.
She literally just thought about this
0.7
days ago. Yeah.
She just thought about it on our show just now.
We're like brainstorming right now.
Yeah, we're riffing.
But hijinks, I love hijinks.
Love a good
Hijinks.
hijink.
Yeah.
That's great. It's
Is there a character in that story that you identify with? Like that would be me.
I mean, probably Ginger. Well, I've given her the name of my childhood best friend from high school.
Oh, cool.
And then I've given her brother is. So there were 3 of us that were co-editor-in-chiefs of our high school newspaper. And
Nice.
so Ginger, Tony, and I were all editor-in-chiefs. And then our teacher was Mr. Lee. And so they're like Ginger, Tony, and Dad is Mr. Lee. Which says something probably about me projecting family.
Beware, if you're friends with
That's
Yulin,
awesome.
you will end up in one of
In
her
her
story.
screenplays.
She will
Up in
Taylor
there.
Swift
Or you won't even know.
I'll take your name and then nothing else.
Nothing else. It's just
Yeah.
I came. So now technically, she came across us. She'll
Yeah.
see her name.
It's like a Walter, like that motherfucker. Walter Talens.
God.
That'd be great.
So, where can everybody find you online?
Where can they find me online? Right now, you can find me probably most frequently on my fitness Instagram.
It's a workout.
Well, not even workout. I became an adult figure skater. I started taking
No way.
lessons.
How would I do that?
Yeah, so my most recent
That's so
fandom
Chinese.
is like is figure skating.
Michelle Kuang. No, it is so
South Bay?
Chinese
Taurus?
American.
What up?
That's hella Chinese.
When
though.
I was a kid, I was obsessed with the '98 Olympics with Tara
Me too.
Lipinski.
Oh my God, Tara
I know.
Lipinski and Michelle Kuang.
Okay, but I wanted to be Tara Lipinski because I hated myself.
Holy fuck.
I know.
Really?
Didn't
You
realize
didn't wanna
that
be
at the-
Michelle
No, I
Kuang?
was like, I'm closer in age to Tara, and also, I don't know, I just like her more.
I read her autobiography.
internalized.
Yeah, I want her to win. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, anyway, I was like,
So you're-
parents, can I please skate? And they were like, no, we're poor. So last year,
It's expensive.
It is.
Super
Right.
expensive.
So last year I had like disposable income for the first time, and I was like, Google, how do I learn to ice skate?
Right.
And I found a couple figure skating rinks. I discovered that it's actually cheaper than yoga. Like it's $10 per session for ice skating. I know.
I've always wanted to be a
Do
figure
it.
ice skater.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
but don't people tell you you're too old?
No. This is what I love about the adult figure skating community is that like
They're not allowed to say that because then they won't make money.
They
It's like
get
the
sued.
you're never
Fitness
too
is
old.
ice skating.
It's that like not anybody, but like okay, you can
Oh.
watch the Olympics and be like, okay, yeah, they're like doing those things, but like that's not inspiring to me because I can never do that, you know?
Yeah, okay,
Whereas
yeah,
adult figure skaters, I watch them and I'm like, look at you doing like a swizzle and then a
Yeah.
crossover and then a
Triple
3-turn.
Right.
Sow
'Cause,
cow,
like,
yeah.
you know
Yeah,
what?
it's
You
like,
have
wanna-
like a job, you have obligations, you have
Yeah.
rent to pay,
Yeah.
and
Right.
you're
You
still
don't wanna get
finding
hurt.
time to like get to the rink and learn shit.
To do a triple
That is
axel.
the
Yeah,
most
yeah.
inspiring thing to me. So anyway, I've been documenting my figure skating journey because when I first got into it, I was like, who else can I follow that's like a beginner? And most adults were also embarrassed by our like shittiness. So
Yeah,
like,
they're not gonna.
so people don't post until they're
Right.
like okay. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's no fun. So I started posting from like my very first shitty swizzle.
Wait. So how long have you been doing this for?
About a year and a half.
That's awesome.
so can you
That's
do
so
like a
great.
little spin
Oh
yet?
yeah, I
you
can
do
do
the
a
axle?
spin. I cannot do an axle. So here's my goal. I want to do an axle in the next 3 years.
Yes.
But
Sweet.
Oh, it takes years, huh?
oh yeah, it's like a
Wow.
whole thing. But right now I'm working on my flip jump and my loop jump and my backspin,
Wow.
and my scratch spin.
Those
Okay,
are
this is
all
not crazy,
super
but
difficult.
Do you think it's possible for an adult of like our age to make it to the Olympics, or that's just not going to happen?
Oh no,
It's
that's
just
not
that
gonna
they'll
happen.
never
But
accept
you know what?
something
You
like
can
that.
still compete. You can compete in adult figure skating
But not the
competitions.
Olympics.
Probably not.
Why not though?
Why not? Because I think
Muscle memory.
Have
it's
you
a muscle
ran
memory
against
thing.
it?
Wait, let her speak.
Sorry.
I think it is a muscle memory thing, but also, you know what? They're like, I think this happens in every fandom. At first, you only notice the good things, and then you get in enough, and you're like, oh, it's toxic. Oh no. And like, I do think that the figure skating culture can be a little bit, you know, aesthetically
Ageist.
driven.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And also ageist. I
Yeah.
mean, ageist like they're like, oh, that heifer's 18. She should retire.
That's what I mean. Like, oh, she's 19.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's
yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
Well,
it-
yeah.
So,
I mean,
so
you-
that's the negative
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
And you gotta think it's like some of these guys who've been competing in the Olympics, they started like at 10, and you
Or
coming
younger,
in,
yeah.
Yeah, or
Like
younger,
5.
yeah, you
Or-
starting
yeah.
at 20, then by the time you get
It's
to their
unlikely.
level, you're like at
But you know what?
30,
Johnny
35.
Weir started, I think,
So-
at 17 or something. So
That's old though, right?
Yeah, that's old. He was
Yeah.
starting old, but he also did like rollerblading beforehand. Anyway,
Yeah.
to answer your
Okay.
question, so
Yeah.
the account I posted the most frequently is probably my figure skating
Okay.
account. So that's at Yulin
You
Fitness
just-
Diary.
You just gained like 4 followers right
thank
now.
you.
Girls like, I want to be just like you. I want to be.
It would be bad. I have the
I
worst
really
balance ever.
Like, Yuri
It's
on
just-
Ice. You watch
That's
Yuri
pretty
on
I
Ice?
cool.
did watch
Yeah.
Yuri on Ice.
got me hyped.
And
Yeah.
then my regular account is just Yulin.Kuang on Instagram, and then my Twitter is at Yulin Kuang.
Okay.
Fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
But talk to me about figure skating anytime. You can also find me at the Pickwick skating rink.
Oh, Pickwick! That's where I
Nice.
go.
Pickwick
Oh,
Gardens,
really?
yeah.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
I get intimidated.
It's a show.
We should go.
it's-
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
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 Let's
Let's
go
go
skating. I wanna go
Literally
skating.
anytime. I'm gonna go tomorrow.
Nice.
I really want to do this.
Let's go
Like,
skating.
This is gonna happen.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It's gonna be great.
It's a
I
great
follow
leg
Michelle
workout
Kwan.
though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Oh,
a
it's
great
an
workout.
awesome
It's the
leg,
best
yeah.
cardio you can do.
Yeah.
Imagine so much like micro control of muscles.
But I'm just afraid of hurting myself. When I first did it when I was like 10,
You're
I
gonna
was
hurt yourself.
fine. And then somewhere along the way, I started getting really paranoid of falling.
Yeah.
And I could never let go.
Well, the
So-
first thing they teach you in skating is how to fall and get back up, which I
Okay.
think is very
So
inspiring.
there's a proper way to fall.
Yes.
Okay.
So you like sink down to your feet and then you like fall. I should have
That was so cute.
crawled away.
Or you can,
Bye. I
if you're
still
scared,
roll.
you can,
Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
you can probably wear those rollerblade like wrist guards and hand
Pads.
guards. So
Oh,
if you fall, you
right.
just
Yeah. You just. I have
Exactly.
knee pads too.
Just like
You
the
don't-
Michelin
Yeah.
Man.
yeah,
Yeah.
elbow
You don't
pads.
fracture any.
All right.
Them
Well, we
small
have
bones.
to.
You
We have to
wrap it
wrap
up.
up here
Oh, I'm
with
sorry.
Yulin.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, is,
You want to come back and guest host?
Would you be down?
Guest
to
host?
it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who are
Guest
we
host.
gonna fire
Yeah.
so that I can do that?
Oh
Wait, what
my
happened?
gosh.
know.
Cutthroat. She said, "Who are we gonna fire?"
There's that Slytherin. There's that Slytherin.
I'll just not be there.
Yeah,
Just say,
Aslan's looking
y'all
old.
don't need me.
Yeah.
Wait, what's happening? I just missed it.
Nothing.
She said, "Aslan's looking real."
Doesn't he die?
He does. Yeah. He absolutely does.
He gets
saving
resurrected.
everybody. Yeah,
By the
that's
old
true.
magic.
You're half the time.
Also,
Yeah, you gotta take his job.
Yeah.
also I am
Take
getting
his
old,
job.
so you know.
No, if anything, Earl's been here every time. So.
I have nothing to do on Tuesdays. So. Is there anybody you would like to shout out before we let you go?
Anybody I would like to shout out?
Shout out to your
Yeah.
new project.
Shout
Or
out
projects,
to new
yeah.
projects. Shout out
Yes.
to all of you guys watching. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know,
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for
shout out to you guys for
sitting
doing
down.
this. This is like amazing.
Yay!
Awesome.
Asian
Yeah.
Americans in media and entertainment.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I think this is the most Asian Americans I've talked to, like,
See, there's a problem with
like
one room.
about fandom.
About
Oh,
fandom.
yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
In one room.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
you wouldn't believe like how small pockets of us in fandom
Yeah.
you
There's
are.
actually,
Yes.
yeah.
Also, too,
I play a
it's-
game night.
It's
Yeah.
a big reason why we created this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is a big reason why we created this because it's just like, hey, I mean, I joke about it all the time, but basically, I wish our tagline was, hey, white people can sit around and talk about geek stuff all the time.
Why can't we?
Why can't we?
That's
So
so
it's like-
tabletop games. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Pangeekery tabletop night. Let's do it.
yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
I want
I
to
have
learn
one
to
every
play
Sunday.
Dungeons and Dragons. I've never
Oh.
played.
He's a dungeon master.
He's gonna teach
All right,
us.
You're
Let's
coming.
play it.
You-
D20 ring.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, me neither.
This is what I'm saying.
It's
never
a
played D&D.
scorekeeper.
Nobody
Can I
knows.
play
We'll
like
have you on.
one game?
We'll have you on, and we'll do it.
We'll do
Dungeons
we'll
Let's
do
do
Her
a
alignment
live
chart as
airing
well.
of a
Like,
game.
All right.
like an
Sounds kinda
intro to
evil.
Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do
But
an
I've
intro.
never
I will do an
played
intro.
D&D.
Yeah,
Intro.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I've never played because
You have never
You've never
played
played either?
So none of us.
I've never
I've never
played.
never
No,
played.
I have.
I've never played
I would love
D&D.
to.
So
But
I
I've only played one game at a time. I've gone in
That's
for
fine.
3 separate games, but only one game at a
Oh,
time.
you never like
It's very
continued.
easy to crash
Because
in.
it's like a campaign, right? Like
Right.
it can go on
It
for
can
a
be.
while.
Extended.
But
It
can
can,
you do just
but
a
you can do
one-off?
one.
I can do
You can.
I can
Like
do
a
a one-off.
one-shot
Yeah,
fic?
one shot. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We actually do
fic.
call them one shots.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
Nice.
I'm fully down for a one shot.
I used to do this thing called Bar D&D where we would bring in random people for an hour and a half, and we would try to get an entire story done in an hour and a half.
Wow.
So, yeah. And we would get drunk at the same time.
I'm game. Oh, I'm really
Always a
game
good
now.
idea.
Yeah. So maybe we could do that. Maybe I can even bring in my other DM who does it, and then we can do 2 groups. So we'll see.
Hey.
DM means dungeon.
Dungeon
Yeah, I was
Master.
gonna say your other
Sorry.
DM.
I know my other.
Slip and
direct
slide in.
message.
Yeah.
Slip and slide.
All right.
Anyways,
Thank you,
Yulin,
Yulin.
thank you so much for being here.
You're awesome.
She fell out
that
safety.
was so good.
She fell out of camera
my
the ice
God.
skating safe way.
That
I
was
know.
so good.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. Yo, what's up, everybody? We are back from our break. Hope you all enjoyed that little segment with Yulin Kuang. We definitely had tons of fun. Hopefully, she comes back to play D&D and/or guest host. So we will
Teach us ice skating.
and teach
ice
us
skate
ice
with us.
right here, just
Let's
like
stalk her.
We're gonna stop
we're
you.
just gonna stalk all of our guests. So we are going to move into news in the geek universe.
What was that? My
That's
God.
my-
Is that what it sounds
Is
like?
that your stalking
That's
voice?
what news in the geek
That's what
universe
news sounds like?
signs. Yes. So awesome. Let's check who's in the chat. Make sure we are all set here. We are all good. Awesome. So first off, Sera and the Royal Stars. Walter.
Yeah, Sera and the Royal Stars is this new comic book series that's launching next month. Most comics are there's very few like fiction or fantasy style
Right.
genre in comic
We got
books.
Saga kind of. And
Yeah, so this comic book kind of like fulfills that niche, and it's gonna come out on July 17th, and it's by writer John Sway,
SUI?
Tsuei, Sway, and the artist is gonna be Audrey Mock. So it's all Asian, like the top two is gonna be Asian Americans or
It's so
Asian.
pretty.
Vault
Yeah, it's by
Comics.
Vault Comics. And
I don't know that
What's
publisher.
it about?
It's basically it's more fantasy stuff. So I'm not familiar with their work, to be honest. But this one seems like it's about this main character. But he's really known for writing Image comic series Run, Love, Kill. So he's kind of popular in his own right, and I don't know if you're more familiar with any of his material. Earl? Oh.
No, I'm not tons super familiar, especially with like the newer Image stuff. I haven't been keeping up lately, but
I think for anyone who's like into fantasy comic book like genre, this is a one to watch. And I'll probably have to check it out, especially with like the art. I saw some of the art by Audrey.
it looks pretty awesome.
It's pretty great, and just looking from the stylistic of the cover.
Right,
I feel
that's
like
great.
this is something I would
This is a
read.
really
Is it-
nice
I like
cover.
things that look pretty,
Right.
and I like things with female protagonists.
Right.
Me too.
I'm very picky when it comes to art. I like art by Asian people.
Yeah.
And I love fantasy. Have you guys read Monstrous by Marjorie Liu?
No, but I've been
Yeah,
meaning
that's
to.
like right in the
Yeah.
vein
Is that
of
a
Monstrous. I
comic?
think, yes.
I hear
you'd
Monstrous
like
is
Monstrous.
really, really good.
You would
I
love
hear.
Monstrous, actually. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Yeah,
So-
she's half
When is this
Chinese.
coming out?
July 17th, and from the write up on it from Paste Magazine, it does mention that the transport readers to the Empire of Parsa, where the seasons have stopped turning, resulting in famine and unrest. Princess Sera, which is her,
Right.
receives a vision that compels her to restore the royal stars to bring peace and prosperity back to the land.
Cool.
This is the shit I would read, yo.
So-
See, that's I love
That
stuff
sounds
like
great.
that. Yeah,
That sounds
that's the
great.
stuff I would read.
Yeah.
So just a tip to everybody that buys comics: if you really want a comic to succeed, you should go pre-order it.
Wait, what?
You should go pre-order this, like
if you want to like
support it.
support it. Yeah.
So
First day Monstrous came out, and I
Right.
went and bought it, like the
Nice.
first issue,
right.
When did that come out?
like 3 years ago.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I haven't heard about this.
What's
Or 3 or
also
4 years
interesting
ago.
is that Mock also apparently she used to draw for Archie Comics, the classic
Wow.
cast.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's
Down
gonna
for
be a
this.
new style, or like she's flexing a different muscle, creating the style because it's very not Archie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It looks great.
looks cool. I can't wait to see it. I'm actually gonna look it up. Look more up about it. Next, we have the Frozen 2 trailer. Frozen 2. I didn't think this was gonna happen, But it is. Well, I did think it was going to happen because Frozen 1 did so awesome. But a new trailer dropped. It looks definitely darker than the first film. It looks to be like an adventure, like a straight up just adventure. They get a quest from one of those the rock people.
Those the gnome or troll, whatever.
Johnson.
Yeah,
Those gnomes.
Those gnomes, yeah.
Pointless gnomes.
Yeah, I know. What was
So
that, right?
pointless to the plot.
I didn't like the story of Frozen 1.
You just said that Frozen 1 was a great film.
No. I said it did well.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
Okay. I thought in my head I was like, oh, so he likes Frozen.
misconstruing.
No, because it made it sound like
Putting
you
words
liked
in my
Frozen.
mouth
likes
today.
everything.
I do not like. I hate a lot
Did
of
you guys
stuff.
like Frozen 1?
Yeah, I thought it was fun. The song was great.
I really don't know why it was as popular as
As
it
like
was.
The Lion King, yeah.
No,
People were like,
it
oh,
was
it's
like-
better than The Lion King.
It was
I was like,
popular
whoa.
to the point of like, whoa, this is like
This is
legendary.
yeah.
This is
Kids.
a thing.
Yeah.
But then, like, I thought Tangled was a better movie.
Me too. I like Tangled way
You know?
more.
Yeah.
Story wise, I just
Tangled was
did
better.
not like Frozen as much.
Yeah.
And I thought, I think the characters are cool, but I think they're a little underutilized.
Yeah.
Also,
Agreed.
they went for the sudden swerve.
Which
like,
one?
She's supposed to fall in love with this guy, but then he turns out to be
Right.
an asshole, and then she
They
has
went
Were
for
you
it.
like, oh,
You mean
were
real
like-
life?
Was that like eye rolly?
It was an eye roll. It was kind of eye rolly. What it was it felt like a lot of Game of Thrones in the end. It felt like
cheap
a
turn?
swerve. Yeah, cheap turn. It felt like a cheap turn
trick.
because
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
never seated. It was just like, oh, and he's bad by the way. And I was like, oh, come on, really? Is that what we're gonna do
Yeah,
here?
but the point was the love, but for the love of her sister, like family, not about relationship love.
I guess,
also.
but like the way it was
guess.
presented, it was trash, man.
Really?
So-
I usually
Wow.
complain. I actually didn't have much of a problem with that.
Right.
I don't know. I have to watch it
I just
again.
didn't feel that
I
it
didn't
was like
feel-
deeply
yeah.
meaningful.
I just didn't
to me.
feel
I
like it was very meaningful to me. Yeah.
I liked the music a whole lot, and Josh Gad was.
Yeah,
was,
I
you know,
like the
great.
music.
Love is an
you
Open
like
Door
you
is a
like
really
the
good song.
snowman? What
I
the
like
fuck
Josh
was the
Gad.
snowman's
Do you want to
name?
build a snowman?
No, the
Olaf?
talk. I
Olaf.
fucking hate that guy. I was like,
He's your Jar Jar Binks.
yeah.
What?
I was like, what the fuck is this?
But you
this
hate-
fuckery?
You hate
Get the fuck out of here! This
you
fucking
hate Uncanny
singing
Valley
snowman.
stuff. Yeah.
I didn't like that character.
Right.
I didn't
Okay.
like that.
So this is not
I love
break my
Josh
heart.
Gad.
I just
Josh
liked it because
Gad,
I was
yeah,
like,
it
ooh,
was
superhero movie.
It's totally Iceman.
Because she's an X-Men.
Yeah, she's an X-Men.
I don't know. I saw the teaser and
Yeah.
I kind of rolled my eyes because I was like, oh, now it's epic. Now
Right.
it's like Marvel. There's like a thing in like
this
TV
trailer?
tropes. Yeah.
Frozen 2?
I saw the teaser. I haven't seen the trailer yet.
okay.
But okay, so like when you take movies from like Asian movies, like from Japan,
Right.
America has a tendency to make it more badass.
Yeah,
kind
right.
of like
All
I
the
think it's
time.
called like the Kirby effect.
Like
You
after
know Kirby, the cute pink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Kirby is Japanese, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Kirby was supposed to be cute
Right.
initially, but now when you look at American marketing for Kirby games and Kirby franchise,
He's
he
like
looks
a
a little,
badass.
like he's got eyebrows are going
angry.
like that. He looks
Got
a little
a
more
scowl.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a scowl. He looks a little more
Kirby.
badass. And then on the flip side, they will do. Japanese people will take American franchises and make them more cutesy.
Super kawaii.
So yeah, and I feel like this is them like getting very Americanized, even though it is an American.
Unless they
franchise.
make the anime
Right.
version of it, which is
The
like,
anime version would be like, "Do you want to build a snowman?" You know what I mean? Like
No,
Super
but-
cutesy.
God.
but the
What?
the anime version
That
of
was bad. I
Batman
know, that
is
was very bad.
badass. The anime version
There's
of
an
Batman.
anime Batman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was badass.
That was badass.
That
When
was
did
super
that come
badass.
out?
Oh, animated Batman was amazing.
Anime Batman or
Anime.
animated?
Yeah, they're
Anime.
ninjas.
Batman
like,
Ninja. Yeah,
ninjas.
Batman Ninja. Batman.
That come out.
Even did you see Gotham
last
by
year,
Gaslight?
I think.
That was also
Yeah,
really good.
That was cool.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm gonna watch it like I watch all the other like big
Disney.
well, not Disney, but like kind of cultural touchstone things. So, yeah, we'll see what goes on.
Yeah.
This darker story. Hunger Games prequel, Jen.
All right. So Lionsgate just announced that they are going to do a Hunger Games prequel because who doesn't want to make more money?
Is this just?
Oh my god!
Is this a movie or is it?
It's a movie. It's a movie. I mean,
Just one movie.
It's one movie, but we'll see if
it's
it
gonna be a
splits into
trilogy.
3 parts.
Yeah, 3 parts.
But so, I mean, I loved the first Hunger Games. I loved Catching Fire. The third one was all right for me. I felt great about the
Mockingjay?
series overall.
Right.
You know, and I felt that it was really brilliantly helmed by Jennifer Lawrence, who I think is
Agreed.
a fantastic actor.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And she was really like breathtaking.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like what is this prequel going to entail? Like
Is it based off of any written material?
there's no written
No.
material is the thing. There
Is
was
Suzanne Collins attached to it?
there has been no mention in this article for Suzanne Collins.
So this is like a
So this
cash
is
grab.
The
some
studio-
dude
it's a
was like-
studio
Yeah, it's a studio
cash
decision.
grab.
Yeah.
Right.
Season 8, Game of Thrones.
That I don't know.
We can't go through a single fucking
Without
30 minutes
mentioning
without
it.
bringing up Game of
Well,
Thrones.
it's such a.
You just can't move through life without
Without
seeing
bringing
the
up Game-
dollar signs in front of everything.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm. This. I don't know. This just.
So it's like, what's the opposite of hunger? Like feeding or
Filthy
eating
rich
games?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, what this is
well
probably
off
going to
games?
cover, I am guessing, like the establishment of Panem. And,
How did
yeah,
they fall? How did
Right.
they get
Okay.
separated into
Yeah.
sections?
President
That might be
Snow?
cool. If they got a
and
good writer,
establishments of the,
might be cool.
the
Say
districts.
President Snow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
James
President Snow.
President
That's
Snow,
right.
that's his
Yeah.
name.
Jon Snow.
Yeah, yeah.
Kit Harington plays him.
No, it's like
Oh my
Donald.
God.
No, I know, but the
Jon
younger
Snow
version.
loses his like belief in the goodness of human beings and becomes President Snow.
Great
Oh.
Panem.
Panem.
He goes past the north and he finds.
We're calling it, y'all.
Okay, this Game of Thrones prequel and the Hunger
realm
Games
is a district.
prequel.
Yeah.
Let's see how much we can over-explain a world that we don't actually know.
Oh,
Right.
shit.
Let's check it out, y'all. How much money can they make off of this? I wonder.
I mean, Star Wars is
Lots.
doing that, right? Prequels.
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
They're doing
Look
all
what
these
I've done.
prequels.
Oh
The
my
Mandalorian.
God.
What I've done.
I can't.
So speaking of fantastical worlds, Castlevania season 3 has just been confirmed.
I'm
The
happy about
Netflix
this.
series, Caitlin.
There's nothing much I can say. You've already said all there is to know. Netflix has released that there will be a season 3 Castlevania, and that's all we really know at this point. Okay, well, they did say that we can expect Trevor Belmont and Alucard to be more collaborative. So in the article I read, it said that they're gonna. It was weird the way they worded it. They're like,
Right.
they're gonna explore their relationship more. So I was like,
It's going to become Yaoi.
you said it. I was like, so does that involve penetration or
But not just
Not
fans.
just butt stuff.
Yeah.
should I
Whoa.
watch this alone or
You never let the tips touch.
Not at work. Not at work.
Let's dock.
safe for
Do you know
work
what docking is?
Castlevania?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Wait, hold on. Caitlin,
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
haven't seen season 2, can you close your ears for just a second? Because I want to touch on something you talked about.
Is it,
without giving
well,
it
there
away.
was a spoiler. Apparently, they separate at the end of the second
Oh,
season.
so you
right?
know.
Yeah, I briefly.
But you
kinda
don't
saw
know
that.
why they separate.
I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay,
why.
so you should
Yeah.
cover your ears.
Okay, all right, here goes.
Well, I was literally about to bring that up, that they do separate, so I don't see how they were going to bring them back together unless there was another catastrophe that Vlad brings on.
Right,
Right?
but he would have to like come back. From
He would
the
have to
dead.
come back from the dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll
So
see.
we'll have to see. I mean, how alive are vampires anyway?
I don't know. I
Who knows?
would like
Who
to see
really
him
knows?
return. I don't know.
I know.
I thought he was
was
a
a little
cool character.
disappointed that they killed him off.
That way?
because-
Yeah. Well, I mean, just then, time-wise.
Well,
yeah.
in general, like how he was
Right.
killed off. I actually wanted it for it to be more of like a Final Fantasy X type thing, where like Sin, the evil monster,
Is
goes
kind of a
away, is
recurring thing,
defeated,
like an
but
ebb and
will
flow,
always
right.
arise. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's something about the vampire series. They're meant to be immortal. You know?
Right.
I'm sure
Like, so
he'll
you
come
can't-
back thanks to the demon or the devil or some sort of
Right.
spell.
Right.
Exactly. I really thought it was great. Anyway, so
Yeah.
you should watch season 2.
I am excited. I saw the first episode of season 2 and I was
Yeah.
blown away. I was like, they just got even better, you know?
The rest of the series is like, ah.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I did forget to say this latest third season will be 10 episodes long.
As opposed to
Yeah,
8.
as opposed to 8. And the first one was only 4 episodes,
Right.
and it went way too fast.
Well, you know
So-
what happened with the first one? The
What
first
happened?
season.
They were just testing it out.
No. It was originally a feature film. Oh. And then they cut it up into chunks.
No wonder. I mean, they
Yeah.
have that autoplay thing on Netflix now where it's like episodes don't feel like episodes. You're just meant to
Yeah.
binge watch the whole thing
Right.
because there's no ebb and flow to each of the episodes.
Was it somewhere here at Pangeekery? Oh no, it was Strength in Gaming. It was a meme like you Netflix says you still there, and it's about some dude's trying to suck his own dick. Like,
Wow.
What?
he's like doing yoga on the floor, like about to suck his own dick, and Netflix is like,
You still there?
Are you still there?
You still there?
I can't say that I know the situation. I know. I'll look that meme up.
That was the best thing.
How do I search that? Sucking old dick meme.
Suck it on that
Suck his own dick. Like, you still there?
No, but there is something to be said about Castlevania being one of the most successful video game to screen
a good adaptation,
adaptations of all time. And the thing is, this is original content. Like, we never really got to see like a backstory to Castlevania when playing the game, because the game itself is kind of
it's about the gameplay.
It's more about the
gameplay.
The story
scrolling,
supplements the game itself.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So this was super well done.
I want to say
Hats off
that
to them.
the source. Well, the characters are from Castlevania 3, and Castlevania 3 is probably the most story that we got out of all.
How many
first three
Castlevanias
ones.
are there?
I don't know what
There's
they're
like
on now.
5 or
Because
something, I don't know.
You mean
some
they're
of that.
still releasing Castlevania
The
games?
Well, no, because Konami is
That's
not
Konami,
around.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's Castlevania 1, 2, 3. Symphony of the Night. There was one for the 64. There's one that came out for the GCN, I think.
Yeah.
So that's at
I
least
wonder if
6.
someone's
lot of
gonna buy the
Belmonts.
So
intellectual
team
property.
Belmont
Yeah.
or Team
I-
Alucard?
Oh, I love Trevor.
Team Sypha.
I love Treasure.
I was gonna say, but there's no other girl, right? There's just like Sypha.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
the wife who died
Yeah.
in the first episode.
she was badass though.
She was badass. She was a doctor.
badass.
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
a doctor.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she befriended fucking Dracula.
Dracula.
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of hot.
Yeah, it's really great.
I gotta
I'm
look.
Team
I wonder,
love the
Alucard.
romance.
I wonder who has the IP to this now. Like, and then
Now that Konami's not a thing.
Yeah. They
yeah,
probably
and
sold
then
it.
if they can, with the popularity, like let's make
It's
a video
probably
game.
still Konami because I mean I can't remember if they kept all their properties, but they're like making casino games now. That's their thing.
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
pachinko.
For-
Pachinko machines.
Yeah, pachinko machines.
Wow.
Or Castlevania?
Put
No, just
DDR.
in general.
What?
In general,
Okay.
yeah.
Put DDR in a casino, man. Like,
Seriously,
watch Magic
I'll lose
happen.
That's what I was gonna
Lose
say.
my
Is
money.
it
Doing a
Contra?
Contra?
Ooh,
A new Contra? Okay. I haven't read
look
anything
that up.
lately,
Yeah,
but
maybe
Yeah.
next episode.
next episode we'll talk about it. Walter, Marvel X-Men House of X, Powers of X, a new arc for Marvel.
Yeah, so this is the just came to me last minute. This I was reading about this, and there was an interview with Jonathan Hickman, who is going to be the new writer and kind of like overarching, like I don't know if that's the right word, but the architect, the new direction that X-Men's going to go into.
Right.
X-Men, and then the changes that happens to this is going to affect the whole Marvel universe.
Wow.
So it's pretty awesome. Like, because I think X-Men's been going on for like 50 years, and they've been
60s.
recycling, and
Yeah.
they started these alternate universe, and it's like with the changes in Marvel and all that stuff, they felt like it was getting stale, and they brought him in. And from the interview and the articles that I've been reading, he was just like, yeah, let's just try something different. They haven't really revealed exactly
What that's gonna
he's
be.
changing.
Right.
But next month in July, they're gonna start with how Marvel's gonna do X-Men House of X and then Powers of X. They're gonna come up with these two titles,
Okay.
and from there it's just gonna explore. I think you have to look up the cover, and then the cover is like it's gonna feature like some of these top properties, and I'm pretty sure Cyclops is one of them, and Magneto, but there's changes from them that's gonna just go hit everyone
It's gonna
else.
be waves
Yeah.
in the entire Marvel universe. Well,
Because Marvel's just been going through a change, especially with the last, like the Secret Wars, like the universe got wiped down, brought back together.
Even Civil War from before that, right? A lot of that stuff.
And so they're just rearranging everything, trying to make everything new, just because 50 years have gone by, society's different, and you can't just keep telling the same stories with
Right.
these same heroes.
Sure, yeah.
Well, if it's going to be as like as momentous as the House of M, which is it's kind of calling back to, it's going to be super crazy. Because remember what happened in the House of M, everybody loses their powers and like
Depowered or
yeah, so
dies.
Wow.
yeah,
People lose their powers?
House of M, like who is it? It's Scarlet Witch who says no more mutant powers, and they all disappear.
Dude.
Yeah, it's
Scarlet Witch is
scary.
really, really powerful.
powerful.
It's
In the
so
comics,
strange
she's super powerful.
because
Isn't she like
in-
one of the most powerful?
She is, yeah. Her
And Jean Grey.
Jean Grey,
And then the third
Iceman.
one, yeah.
And
So-
yeah, they kind of like Pokemon. They kind of evolve.
Right.
Their powers
So she's
evolve
like
through
Exactly.
time.
Charizard.
Yeah,
Or not
and so yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out, and it's coming out on sale in July. So keep
Right.
an eye on it.
Legit.
As
Yeah,
as Earl was saying, just reserve a copy.
Yeah, if you want it,
Pre-order.
if you want it to do well, like reserve it. Always helps.
Yeah.
Now, how long will it be until a porno comes out called House of Sex
House of Sex.
instead of House
House
of
of
X?
X.
Dude,
And it's
I was
all
in
the
that porno.
X-Men.
House of Sex.
House.
Oh, I'm probably in a
House
month.
of Sex probably came out before House of X, girl. Like, come on
There's
now.
probably
House of Sex.
probably
that's from
one
like the
already.
16th century. Fucking.
Oh gosh,
Anyway.
House of Sex.
But with all the X-Men, though. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean.
Rule 34 X-Men.
Rule
Yeah.
34
already
applying to
exists.
X-Men.
Right.
Although we still have to test my half unicorn, half
Giraffe.
dragon giraffe
We were having a
hypothesis
debate.
about Rule 34. Are we going to get into this later?
Later.
Anyways, is that all for the news, Earl?
Yeah.
No. We have some stuff.
Oh.
We have more stuff. We have more.
More stuff.
No. Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
So they released a new kind of. I don't want to even call it a trailer. It's kind of like a fun. Ad. It's a Coke ad. It's a mock Coke ad that they're releasing just for, I guess, to create buzz before the actual show drops.
Those 80s Coke ads.
And
though.
that was
I'm
kind of
sure it's
big back then
yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
Coke commercials were big. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you would know. You were already
I
like
was
an
already
ad man
I was
on
already
Wall
in
Street.
college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Working in ad agency.
I was in an ad agency at that time.
Oh my god.
It's my second career at that time.
There you go. The mystery continues.
But
Walter's 95.
So consistent, yeah.
it's an interesting little Coke ad. It features Steve and Dustin here, and you could see that they kind of did that.
And
they
it's the
gave it-
new Coke too.
Oh, I know that's funny. It's new Coke.
It's
the new Coke.
cocaine
I'm like,
free.
Coke too. I know cocaine free.
It's new Coke.
But it shows Steve walking to a movie theater and he bumps into Dustin and they have a little exchange. I don't know exactly what if this is going to drop anything in terms of story that's going to happen with Stranger Things season 3, but it's just kind of a fun
No.
little thing.
I'm betting
Yeah.
that it doesn't.
I don't
Yeah.
think it has anything to do with it. I mean, but if they're affiliated with Coke now, you may
Right.
see Coke products in Stranger Things.
That product placement
would
though.
You know?
Totally believe it.
You
Yeah.
you can't, if you're gonna do an 84 like a 80s like scene, like Coke was a big
Coke was a big deal.
either
yeah.
Coke or Pepsi, but Coke was a big deal. It was in big news, especially like that's around the time they dropped their Coke,
Right.
the new Coke formula, which was a bomb and blah blah blah.
Super bomb, yeah. Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
All right, and I guess we're going to talk a little bit about what happened at E3.
yeah.
Because we were all
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah, I know. 'Cause we were all-
Only Earl was VIP.
Yeah. He's the only worthy one amongst us.
Once I voiced a video game character.
yeah. Oh, now
Or
we can,
now, are we allowed to
You
say?
didn't- you didn't talk
Wait,
about that.
you might-
Well,
Ooh.
I
Are
don't
we
know
allowed
if
to
that
say
was
that?
part of news or
we didn't.
part
We
of.
actually
talking
didn't
about-
talk.
Well, this is news.
We didn't talk about.
Can
what
you
we
talk
were
about
doing
it?
right now?
Can you talk about it?
So I can't name anything or say who I'm going to be working for, but I just got cast in a video game.
Yay, Jen!
Yay,
You should notify Strength in
yay.
Gaming so they can interview about that.
Oh my gosh! Well, when it
Once it
When it
drops.
comes
secure,
out.
Yeah,
when it
eventually.
drops, yeah.
You can't.
Anyway,
I know
I'm
the.
very excited. I mean, like decades of gaming, and I'm finally in
Right.
something.
So Walter, we gotta step
I
up.
know, we gotta step
we
up,
already
dude.
have two
Like, we
video
gotta-
game actors on our fucking show.
Right.
Let's do this.
Hadouken!
Hey, if you guys are looking for voice actors, like me and Kaitlyn will do it.
Listen. How can we do it? Listen. I don't know how you
Navi.
Listen.
That- Listen! Yeah, it's more.
Watch out!
I know.
And you gotta do the sound effects.
just kidding, Todd. PK power.
But,
Sorry guys, we're just doing our auditions for our voiceover.
Right,
action.
Get everybody
Please
out there.
cast us.
Please cast me. I want that mocap.
Hey,
There's a
yeah.
lot of cool
Mocap
stuff.
all day.
I know mocap.
Yeah.
Oh, if I could do more mocap.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you guys want to mocap me doing martial arts, it's gonna be awesome.
Hey.
It's gonna hire a voice actor and a mocap martial artist. Done.
There's a comment here.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
a comment.
E3.
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
Sorry, I missed it. E3.
Sorry,
E3.
that was Rodney writing
So,
that.
yeah.
Sure.
A lot of cool stuff at E3. I got to do a hands-on demo of Luigi's Mansion 3,
Nice.
which was great. A lot of fun. I can see myself totally getting sucked into that. I got a hands-on sucked into that, which is
Dun,
not even sexual because
Yeah.
like Luigi has a vacuum in it. So yeah, I totally get sucked in. Borderlands. I got a hands-on Borderlands 3 as well, which is like Borderlands, super fun. And the last one I got hands-on was what was that last one? Mortal Kombat 11.
Whoa.
So
11 of them? There's already 11?
I know.
I believe it.
Yeah.
God.
And 10 was like 3 or 4 years ago
Yeah,
already.
it's
So
Oh my
fast.
God.
yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of Mortal Kombat.
But I got to hang out with on the third day. I got to hang out with Samson from Strength and Gaming.
Nice.
So he was there. He had been working at the Extra Life booth.
Sweet.
So if you don't know what Extra Life is a company that kind of raises money for different charities, usually for kids that are sick. They usually donate the money. They do marathons, and people donate money to help certain hospitals, certain charities. I've done it a couple times with I've done it a couple times with different Tomb Raider communities. So yes, shout out to Extra Life. But so we hung out with Samson, got to check out the rest of the floor. It was fun. We had a few. They had a lot of cool photo opportunities this year. So I posted one for Mortal Kombat 11, and then if you see the promo for this episode of Pangeekery, there's a little bit of that in there too.
Yeah, that was cool. I saw
Did
that.
anybody
thanks.
ask for your autograph?
No.
Miss Jonah?
No. I totally didn't. I don't get recognized at any of these things.
No one dresses up for E3, right?
You know what? It's starting to change because
Ooh.
they actually had like they usually have a weapons checker there at most cons, but they have them at E3 now because people do cosplay.
Nice.
Because gamers are coming in
Finally.
now. They have like that the gamer pass.
Oh, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
good.
know how much it is, but
I gotta go next year. I
Yeah.
really gotta go.
I'm telling you, once you work on this and you get paid, you can like submit. Because that's all they just want to pay stub usually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me
So-
get
There you
paid.
go.
Just letting you know,
That's it.
letting
Takes.
you know whatever it is
Whatever
that you're
it
working
takes.
on.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Honey, whatever it takes.
Honey, whatever it takes.
I don't know what happened.
Remember last week?
I'm gonna leave.
I had
I
to
know,
say.
No, I
okay.
know.
I know,
I'll
I'm
leave
just
it.
kidding.
Just a reminder.
No, I remember. Speaking of Truth or Dare.
Oh.
Are we gonna
Game
play
time? Is it game
Yeah,
time?
I think it's game time.
It's gonna be a shorter game.
It's game time.
It's a shorter game this year because someone didn't come up with it.
Look, I will.
So
I will
I
come
had
up
to
with
write
a
one
better.
very quickly.
Thank
So
you.
who's
Sorry.
running this?
Well, I guess I am because I already know what.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay, so I choose Jen. Truth or dare?
Dare.
Oh, you're gonna regret
Let's
that.
do this. No,
Here
let's
goes.
do it. I'm bold.
Oh, you're not gonna like this.
Oh,
one.
okay. Let's see
Okay.
how I can fuck
Crap.
this
Do
up.
10 push-ups
Okay.
while
What
singing
the
a
heck?
geek-related theme song.
Let's do it. Let's
Oh
do it.
crap! I'm glad I
Okay.
didn't get that.
She's ready.
Which theme song should I pick?
Whatever you want.
Related?
What's a
What's a good geek-related one?
Transformer?
Transformers more than meets the eye.
I mean, I can do Pokemon.
On the table, duh.
Whoa.
That's sexy.
No,
I'm just
not on
kidding.
the table.
We don't have to see it.
It's off camera. It's gonna be
off
off
ca-
I
It'll
need
be
to
camera.
off
figure
camera.
out. I just need to figure out which song I'm doing.
Well, you do that while I count.
Transformers
Or
more than
Ninja
meets
Turtles.
the eye.
Okay.
Oh, which one?
Teenage Mutant
Here goes.
Ninja Turtles.
All right, let's go. One.
Oh,
Da-da-da.
nice. Sailor Moon.
Get the mic next to her.
When the sailors come to help fight, she is the one named Sailor Moon. She will never turn her back on a friend.
Jen is actually doing the.
She is doing
Always
push-ups.
there to defend.
Little lower. Little lower.
Something.
She's gonna be so sore in the morning. Like,
named Sailor Moon.
I don't.
Bam, do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Oh no!
That was not a real one. All right, 10.
Yay! Jen was doing like full push-ups now too, like full extension, not knees.
You might have done more than 10, Jen. I kind of lost track.
I didn't. Yeah, because you were just like, I'll do 8,
Yeah.
and then you went 9. Wait,
Yeah.
wait, what?
No, I think because she did a
I
few
do the
that I
guitar
missed.
solo
So I
from
was
Sailor
like,
Moon, y'all.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh my gosh!
And then Queen Beryl appears. Dun, 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 dun.
Anyways, great job. So now you get to choose someone.
Earl.
Okay, truth.
Nice.
She's on the right.
Truth. Oh, no,
No, you read it.
Oh, I read it.
Yeah.
Truth. Which geek franchise character do you identify with most?
Of
Why?
all franchises?
All franchises.
Damn, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to choose from.
Gosh,
Yeah,
I
thought
do.
you'd have
I have
one.
several, but I was choosing whether or not to talk about this one because it's a deep cut and it goes back to Dragons of Autumn Twilight.
You fucking nerd.
Exactly. See,
I don't even know the fuck that is.
the novel that I mentioned in the very beginning of this.
Dragons.
And I read The Legend of Dragonhome. Okay,
Yeah, I
fucking
know.
Lord
Twilight.
Sander.
I read Pendragon.
Oh, I know that though.
Yeah, yeah.
Pendragon.
I always thought it was Pendragon. It's
Pendragon.
Pendragon.
Aragon?
I know
I
I
think it
thought
sounds
Pendragon.
better.
Yeah.
Anyway, in
Conan.
Dragons of Autumn Twilight, there's a character. He's an half elf. His name is Tanis, short for Tanthalos. And
Okay.
We guys, we're
He's-
balls deep in this fucking.
I know he's the de facto
Balls
leader
deep.
of the group. He's like their unwilling leader, and I identify with him a lot. Ever since I was 10 when I read it, so. I know. What, Tanis short for Tanthalos? He's,
Oh, that was too deep, man. I don't know if I can handle
I could
that.
go
so
deeper.
deep.
I mean, he's from the elves of Qualinesti.
I bet you
he
can,
eventually
Earl.
marries Lorana, who's the Golden General, short for Lauren Thossalot, who is
That's what
the
she
daughter of the Speaker of the Sun of the Qualinesti. So, this could happen. I mean,
I love how he continues. Is that all?
I know.
Is that
pick
it?
someone else.
That was it.
I love how he was just talking to the audience. Like he's still telling the story while these two are just dying.
Walter, truth or dare?
Truth.
Fuck. Truth's on the right. Yeah.
okay, truth.
I feel like I just lost.
If
10
you
years.
had to do a lightsaber duel with a Pangeekery crew member or host, who would it be and why?
Oh, Kaitlyn.
Caitlin?
Really?
because
'Cause you wanna
he wants
win?
ladies to win,
What?
right?
Or dismembered, but whatever.
So mean. That means hold on.
I will treat you like Anakin.
That means you think I'm weak.
I think you're
Oh.
evil.
So you pick the fight due to who you want to beat?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah,
why?
yeah,
specifically
Why?
What is
Why?
the precedent?
What's your answer? Your
Because
reasoning?
she's like Anakin. She's like a Sith Lord.
He's lying. It's
Whoa.
because he thinks I'm weak.
Oh,
That's you projecting, but
Well,
whatevs.
I mean, is it
Because
you're picking her because you want to beat her, or you're picking her because she's similar in battle ability?
yes.
All right. I'm gonna remember that.
All right, you heard it
Tonight,
here
All right.
first.
you heard it here.
Those kind
right.
of nebulous
Who-
answer.
who is
I don't know.
Choose someone.
Caitlyn.
Truth or dare?
Fuck it. Dare.
Dare.
No. Oh yeah. Pick for me.
Chuck that
Whatever.
at you.
Okay, sure. Dare. Recite a quote from Harry Potter in a different language. Ooh.
Damn it.
She
Do you
doesn't know any of
do you
that
know
languages.
another language, or is this about to get
Japanese.
racist?
She knows some Japanese.
Someone
That
give me a
much I know.
quote. Oh, you're a wizard.
Oh
Harry.
no! How about
She doesn't know Tagalog. Do you know
So
Tagalog?
wait, what?
Howdy.
Say it.
Tu
Say it.
eres un wizard.
Wait, that's cheating. Wait, what's another famous line? Wizard.
I'm a what? You're a wizard, Harry. I'm a what?
I'm a.
Nitwit oddment blubber tweet.
It's. Oh, what's that Hermione quote?
Well, Suiga-sama. Now,
It's not
if you two
Leviosa.
don't mind,
It's Leviosa. That
Oh,
one.
no es Leviosa. Es es Leviosa, no es Leviosa.
Ooh, she went with the Spanish list too.
Yeah, I did the
Argentinian
Spanish. Yeah.
Spanish.
yeah.
The list, the Spanish list.
Caitlin, who's it gonna
Fucking Earl. That's who it's
What?
gonna be. Truth or dare?
Let's go more truth. I'm scared of these dares, man.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Scared of.
I don't want to do a
Voidas
push-up.
Here,
can't
this
do
one's from
push-ups.
Yulin. If you could ship any two characters from two different fandoms, who would they be?
be? Oh, so this was from me. See, I contributed.
Two different fandoms. I would say, let's pick two of my favorite fandoms. This is such a huge question. Okay. I think I got one. I know nobody's gonna know this one.
Get deeper. Let's go deep.
Come on.
Deep.
Spit it
balls
out.
deep,
Spit it out.
Balls deep.
Balls.
Just tell us what
Spit
it
it
is.
out,
Just-
man.
I can't think of anyone. I'm just gonna say.
Just make it up.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Well,
He's
say
seeing
So-
it in his head.
Say it.
If
Yeah, I know they're already doing it.
okay, Lord of the Rings, Galadriel.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And you're gonna fucking laugh at me. Is from Dragons of Autumn Twilight. And well, it's like a bunch
dragon?
of books. There's like 30 books.
Do you ship her with the dragon?
So
No, no, no.
Tristane of Wonderworld.
Raistlin Major.
Is that a girl?
Wow.
No, it's a dude. He's one of twins.
What's he about?
He is a mage that started off neutral and he turned evil because he wanted to take over space and time.
So
That's
she's
already
gonna
sexy
ship
right
it with
there.
a
Yeah.
evil
With
dude.
Galadriel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he actually
Alright.
defeats a god in
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I'm
it's
loving
crazy.
this.
Yeah.
Holy shit! And
Alright,
she's
choose
a
someone.
she's a server of Eru too. So
Yeah.
this is-
Eru Iluvatar.
Yeah.
Iluvatar.
So Jen, oh no, Kaitlyn hasn't done one yet.
I just didn't know as.
Oh, that's right. Jen.
time for another one. Okay.
Truth or
dare, man.
Dare.
Give me a.
Do it.
Give me a.
Dare. Do your best impression of either Optimus Prime, Megatron, or Rita Repulsa from Power Rangers.
Oh,
What?
he is the easiest.
This is the worst. I don't know how to do. What does Rita sound like?
She's screechy. She
After
sounds like Fran
10,000
Drescher.
years?
She sounds like Fran Drescher.
Hey, that's actually not
Yeah,
bad.
it's pretty good.
That kind of sounds like her. Yeah, that kind of sounds like her.
Okay.
Yeah.
The line is,
great.
after 10,000 years,
Yeah,
I'm
not
free.
laugh.
I'm finally free. After 10,000 years, I'm finally free.
That's actually pretty
That's
good.
it. Yay. There you go.
Look at
All
that.
right,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
See, my,
Sound like
my
I'll take
coaching
it.
of Fran Drescher.
Yeah. Okay,
There we
you
go.
choose someone.
Walter. Truth. Dare.
Truth.
Truth.
Truths.
Truth.
no, you read it. Girl.
Oh fuck, man. Okay. Which weird geek franchise character have you been bizarrely attracted to?
Oh, attracted to? Like, have a
bizarrely
crush?
attracted
Oh.
Like, you're not, like, this is embarrassing to admit, but
Oh,
Jar
yeah.
Jar was sexy AF.
Wait, it doesn't have to be embarrassing. It's just who did I have?
Just bizarre.
Dude,
Sure,
I
bizarre, yeah.
Like,
I don't know if it's bizarre. Well,
Maybe I guess to you it's not, but maybe to us it will be.
Yeah.
nah.
Maybe just-
no one would think
yeah.
it's bizarre that I had a big crush on Psylocke.
No, yeah. That's
No, then it has to be someone else.
Wait,
It's
the
not embarrassing
character,
enough.
the comic book
The
character,
No, Psylocke's hot.
not
I have a crush on Psylocke.
not the movie iterations, but the
Oh,
girl in
the
comic
movie
book.
iteration too.
Okay, never
like,
mind.
I
Yeah.
mean,
have you ever had like a bizarre geek crush before? Like one that you were like, oh, I'm not sure.
Like-
Who really?
You like
Oh,
the
you know
one
what I
from
thought was-
Mass Effect.
No,
Yeah,
um,
Thane.
what I thought when I was growing up, I thought RC from Transformers.
Oh yeah, dude, RC.
I thought she was a robot, but she was hot for
She was a
some
hot-ass
reason. She was a
robot.
hot robot.
She
I don't
was
know
hot.
why.
RC
Like
was hot.
RC was cool.
Oh my
Did you guys
God.
like the rabbit from Zootopia? I swear everybody fat
Oh,
A
that
lot
rabbit.
of people totally.
Hops.
Yeah,
I
Hops.
had
I could
some
see
Hops.
that.
I thought she
could
was
see
cute.
that.
I wasn't.
For Nick,
Nick.
man, I was
The fox.
about that fox. Holy shit.
No, well,
Dude, people were jizzing to
Dude.
rabbits.
well, going
Okay.
back to the
Rabbit,
Fox stuff, freaking
They
like
were just voiced really well.
Robin Hood, old Robin Hood,
Robin Hood was
Oh.
Maid Marian,
So
and then
cute.
and Robin Hood. Yeah, totally.
great. Man.
Okay,
were-
who's
All right,
left?
last
Anyway,
one.
you have to-
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn, you're left.
Chitara.
Oh, Chitara's a good choice
Nice.
too. I like
Yeah.
that. Caitlyn.
Thundercats, by the way.
Fuck.
Dare. Do a thumb war with a fellow host. Loser has to pay for drinks tonight.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking shit.
Oh no. Okay, wait, hold on.
Yes, we're going out.
Guess we have to draw this equally.
Oh no, wait,
Let's
what?
see. Right? Because
we-
like, who are you dueling?
Or
Oh,
do you
yeah,
choose?
fine. Yeah, sure.
Walter.
We'll pull from
my
our
God.
head or some
Earl.
shit.
Jen. Okay.
I'm scared.
All
I don't want to
right.
pay for a drink.
Well,
why'd
you're
you
not.
do
You're.
this?
Oh
'Cause I
wait.
might
Oh,
lose.
if you lose.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
I lose. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, mix them up.
Then you better choose someone who's
Oh my
not.
god.
Then you better choose someone
Yeah.
that's not going out.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Pick one.
It's gonna be Earl. No!
Oh.
All right, Earl, come here.
1, 2, 3,
Wait,
4.
would
I
you want to
declare
go
thumb
right or
war.
left-handed?
Go.
Are you right
Ooh.
or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
man.
I'm right-handed. Yeah.
Okay, go with left then. You're
Over the
least
table.
dominant.
Over the
I have a
table.
distinctive like advantage because I have like
He
guitar
also has
thumbs.
claws.
I have guitar nails.
Don't let that.
and I
trap
have
you.
no nails.
So that's why go with left hand.
Left hand.
So you're
Oh.
both non-dominant hand.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right, here goes.
That's incredibly handicapped.
Should we?
Both of them
How are we
though.
gonna?
So it's equal.
I'm gonna eat
Move
my
the
cookie
drink.
while I
But
watch
it's
this.
yeah. We need to move this out of the way. Shouldn't I?
Are
be
we arm
next to
wrestling?
him?
Let's arm wrestle. I'm just kidding.
Do you want to switch seats with Earl really
Oh,
quick? Yeah, so we can hear you talk.
Oops, son of a.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh no. Okay. Here goes. Oh, I forgot. We're not hand wrestling. We're just thumb warring.
We're just
thumb
okay,
warring.
yeah.
We're not
I'm
arm
used
wrestling.
to like arm wrestling. Okay. All right. Here goes.
Hand
One. So no, other way.
One,
1, 2, 3, war.
war.
For I declare thumb war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Try to keep your thumbs straight. Okay.
Fight.
No.
Fight.
Hey, no.
Hey, what was that?
Because he's lifting his.
Oh, okay.
You're not supposed to lift.
Okay, so I don't know what the rules are. of
You
thumb.
can't just lift your elbow. No.
1, 2.
Wait, how long do you have to? Has to be
Yeah.
3, right?
30 seconds.
Come on, hurry up. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Ding, 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 ding.
That's completely unfair.
All right,
this was
guys.
exciting.
Drinks on Earl.
As you eat with your. Yeah, I think that was it.
The
All right,
winner,
so
the winner
that's-
buys drinks. So Earl will buy drinks.
The winner buys-
Wait,
The
let's
winner buys.
read that again.
No, it's the winner.
No.
It's the winner. It's the winner.
Okay, so that's it for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our 15th episode of Pangeekery. Thanks to the crew. Thank you all. Thank you to the cast.
Thank
to
you,
everybody else.
Earl.
And thank you to our special guest, Yulin Kuang.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Another shout out to our food sponsors, Jimmy John's and their $10 box lunch. Shout out to PWC, Filipino Workers Center. Thank you for being our location sponsors. And we'll see you next week. Hit us up on all the socials, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We're all there at Pangeekery. Next week, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv/Pangeekery. And what was that?
Oh, not next week. The following
Oh,
week.
Following
yeah,
week,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. We're not going to be here next week, but we'll probably have something in place, like a video or something, is what I'm being told.
So
or
check
I've
out
been
the
told.
space.
Yeah, check out the space. We might stream. I might stream. We're playing WoW. We'll figure out something, but we'll have some kind of content for you next
And then
week.
check back in 2 weeks from now, Tuesday at 8.
Yep.
We'll be
Yes.
back in effect doing the thing we do.
Always.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you,
Everybody,
guys.
Later.
Good night. Bye.
Pangeekery Podcast, covering all things geek from an all-diverse perspective. Visit us online at www.pangeekery.com.